If you've ever waited multiple days for a single company to report earnings because you think that's going to allow you to finally do something, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day, whatever you call it. Hopefully you're having a good day. We've got Nvidia earnings on deck after hours, so somehow we need to find something to trade before then. Let's get it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, folks, it is good to have everybody back. We are back for another episode of Live Trading. Let's go ahead and bring on my main man, 13. 13, how you doing here today?
I'm doing all right. It looks like we're going to have a bit of a morning here with all the things over $1 that are moving around. So I'm excited for it. How about you?
So maybe a bit of a morning, but certainly a bit of an afternoon as we have Nvidia reporting its earnings. Will they comment on the Amazon headline from yesterday about waiting on chips? What's going to happen? What say you?
Well, I saw that later on in the day, Amazon had said that they're not canceling orders. They're still, in a strategic partnership with Amazon. There's something that essentially refuted that they're going to be canceling orders. They're not. I think it's just a delay. But let me see if I can find the article, because it seemed to be contradictory to what the narrative was yesterday at that headline came out. That
sounds like someone said, "Oh, walk it back, walk it back."
Yeah,
No pullbacks.
Exactly.
No,
that's exactly
pullbacks.
what it looked like.
Okay. Let me go ahead and bring up the SPY. We'll go ahead and talk about that real quick. Actually, I forgot to put my bird away because we were having such a good time discussing what's going on here. 13, if you don't mind, would you mind riffing a little bit about the SPY here while I handle Cleo? I'll be right back.
Sure, I can do that. Let me just bring the SPY up. So
no problem.
yesterday we took another stab at the all-time highs and didn't quite get up there. We're just a little bit short. And we ended up trading under 30 million shares, just as we went into the close. So not a very eventful day. We're setting up what appears to be a bit of an ascending triangle pattern. If you look at lower time frames on the S&P the SPY, you can see that we've come up into a little bit of a formation where we're constantly trying to break into new highs. We're making, and every time we get rejected, we end up making higher lows. Eventually, and it looks like it could be on Nvidia earnings, it looks like it's gonna break out. I don't have. I think if I have you show the folks what I'm talking about, there's a chart in the happy hour chat that illustrates this. There you go. It's the one that's before the SPY at the close.
Okay, wonder what's happening here.
And
okay.
That's power in the news now. I'll take a look at that while he's bringing that up.
Where from yesterday?
Right,
this one?
Yep. So there's that's a 15-minute. I'm sorry, that's a 1-hour chart, and you can see the point I'm trying to make here about testing this all-time high several times over the past 4 days. And it looks like we're getting close to trying to break out. Now, we've been making lower highs every time we've been rejected, and that sets up this pattern, which is a bullish pattern. And we'd be looking at a breakout resolution at some point very soon. So this is something I'm going to be watching for, and I'm kind of anticipating, because Nvidia earnings are expected to be, good. So if it breaks out on this, then I think we have the catalyst. It would be pretty devastating. If it didn't work out. These patterns can fail too, because I think the whole market's really hanging on to Nvidia earnings as going to be the event that lifts the market up higher. And we've had a discussion in happy hour about how HELOCs are. And this is hearsay. Some investment managers have their clients taking out HELOCs to buy into Nvidia and some of these other companies that are very, very strong right now. That's very risky, and that's
I was just going to say, 13. I mean, that seems to me like a really, really poor decision and poor piece of advice.
It's extreme greed, it seems.
To your point about this being the most important thing. I mean, I'm totally with you there. And I think that you're right. This is either going to cause a breakout in the SPY, or this is going to cause a pretty wicked sell-off that might take some other names with it. Which one would I be rooting for? I'd be rooting for the sell-off because I want other names to come down, reset prices and valuations, and then get an opportunity to trade those. We take a look here at, say again, sorry.
I was saying yes, Humble Ninja, yes. Home equity line of credits to buy stocks, yes.
Yeah, which again, not good, not good. Pat M says, Ryan, you should get a cat. Pat, that is like extreme level trolling right there. I mean, he literally joins the stream all the time. Nvidia, looking at the hourly chart here, we basically have a triple top here, and this sure looks like this is going to try to break out and move. We'll see if we get that ahead of the earnings. I'm with you, though. I think that these earnings are going to be met with a higher stock price. That seems to be the case last couple of times that I've tried to short this going into an earnings print or whatever. Just really hasn't worked. It's gone against me. So we'll see here on Nvidia. That's what we're waiting for, but we do have some movers in the meantime.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and check those out. Okay, first one here on the list. Let me make sure I got this right. This is BNED. This is Barnes and Noble Education. Let me actually get a 1-minute chart here. Barnes and Noble. Okay, Barnes and Noble Education, the shares are trading higher on continued volatility. Greenhaven last week said it continues to explore a possible transaction with the company. So it looks like Barnes and Noble trying to be saved here. This is a penny stock, despite being a well-known company, flirting with $1. We'll see if this ends up trading up here. Sure looks like it's got some move up. You trading this at all for the possible transaction that's being mentioned here?
I don't know what the company's worth, and being so close to $1, it's a big question mark for me. If it starts to move up over $1, I'll take a look at it. But I think there's a much better selection to choose from than there has been all week. So I think these other ones that we're going to talk about are probably better than this one. But it could be good. Don't not trade it on my account. Absolutely.
Yeah, no. I'm just wondering what you're taking a look at here. I mean, if we take a look at the daily chart, you can see that BNED, Barnes and Noble. I mean, a lot of the times when this thing pops, backside of the move actually takes it lower. Is that what we're going to see here from this move? Time will tell. This is here, however, set up so far here today. All right, let's go take a look at the next one here. Next one is going to be SYTA. This is definitely one that we've mentioned before. We've seen this moving around on the relative volume scanner quite a bit. This is SYTA Mobile. Stock traded up about as high as 450. Looks like it's coming back into the VWAP right now, which is great. Volume also looks good here. SYTA Mobile announces the expansion of its relationship with luxury resort property Baha Mar Resorts, located in the Bahamas in Nassau. So looks like we're getting some type of expansion here, and a relationship should be better for the company. We'd have to actually go in here and see if they give any numbers. No, it looks like it's just kind of a general. Now using hundreds of SD7 handsets and accessories to extend the usage of devices across the property. Okay, so more of their product is being used here. No numbers in this particular PR. I got to think that this, maybe this is just kind of a momentum short-lived play. I would imagine without any type of follow-up there, this eventually is going to come back in. What do you think here on SYTA?
Very low float, has 718,000 shares. For the float to be traded, and you've got a company here that does like to do reverse splits and offerings. Last year, they did a 1-for-100 reverse split, and then about 4 months later, they did a 1-for-7. In that same year, they did 5 offerings. So this company is, one of those companies that likes to raise cash or needs to raise cash frequently. Seeing us looking at their financials, their income statement shows that they tend to lose millions every quarter, and their balance sheet doesn't really inspire a lot of hope that they're going to be able to make it from here on out on their own sales. So I think they need to raise cash again. Just be careful with this one. They could do an offering at some point, especially if their business is starting to pick up and they don't have a robust enough income to keep operations going.
Okay, awesome stuff there. And I like how you kind of walked through some of the different information that you had to put up a plan of what you think is going to happen next. One of the things we actually discussed yesterday on the happy hour is how retail traders are probably better off thinking several moves ahead instead of just one move or living in the moment. That's definitely something that I could work on here. Really good stuff there, SYTA. We'll see if this gives us a trade. Again, coming back into the VWAP. Great to see it hold there. Okay, next. This is BuzzFeed. How about this? All right, ticker BZFD, the ultimate purveyor of fake news. BuzzFeed shares are trading higher after Vivek Ramaswamy disclosed a 7.7% stake in the company. So, okay, BuzzFeed down here just under 250. This stake in the company, taking this above 4. Here's my question, though, 13. Is this just a day trade, or could this possibly be more than a day trade? What do you think?
Well, with Fuzz bleed here, I'm not sure if it's going to be something to hold on to for too long. It does have a 20 million share float, so trading it is, it's not going to be as easy, but it's not going to be difficult. Still can move around quite a bit. It does have a 22.36% short interest with 7 days to cover, and they just did a 1-for-4 reverse split earlier this month on the 6th. So a lot of boxes being checked here for the trading the volatility. But I think if you're interested in holding this because Vivek has a stake in it, then maybe look and see what if you can find the price he got it at. Maybe just ensure that your shares are around that same price, and that could maybe create a bit of a floor for you. But BuzzFeed, it doesn't interest me. It's not something I'd be interested in holding, and I don't know that the Vivek stake is really going to make that much of a difference. And I think we could point to, I don't know how NYCB has been doing, but that's another former government official who has a stake in that company, and I don't really think that one has been doing as well. Yeah, there you go. So I don't think that the name is really going to make a difference. And that's the whole point I was trying to make with NYCB.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that you're exactly right about that. I would be. I see a couple of people in the chat here, MCs, and seeing BuzzFeed day trade. I would agree with that. I'm hard pressed to believe that all of a sudden you get somebody polarizing in one direction is going to take a stake, change everything. All of a sudden, this is going to be gangbusters. I mean, look, maybe that does happen. I can't tell you if that's going to happen. For me, I'm not going to buy that up. That's not the knowing what the catalyst is and knowing who's likely to be, trading this back and forth. I totally get it. But for a long-term trade here, this doesn't really move the needle. To be honest, I'd actually like to see what the product does over time and how they report their earnings over several quarters to determine whether or not this actually has a long ramp to, being fixed as a tradable good stock. I'm not even close to that right here. So to me, I'm with you, 13. I think this is nothing more than a day trade today. We'll watch the technical levels on this and see if we can get any type of action here. I will say that I'm hoping that this particular catalyst brings enough eyeballs and enough liquidity to the stock where we can A, get some pretty good moves out of it, and B, have no trouble getting in and out of it. We'll see if that is what gets here on BuzzFeed, or what happens here on BuzzFeed. Okay, next one on the list is going to be MGOL. This was the penny stock that turned dollar stock yesterday. It actually tried to go for several dollars here today. This actually went up and tested close to 3 here. Back that off. We're actually really kind of selling off here. To me, big story here on MGOL is going to be volume. Does it increase and does it expand like we saw yesterday? We have not seen that here in the pre-market. And then number 2 is going to be the VWAP. Are we able to get above the VWAP? Are we able to cross that on volume? Are we able to use that, turn that resistance into a support? Clearly, that is still resistance here. MGOL, remember, this is a really recent penny stock that's now turned dollar stock. 13, what do you think here on MGOL? Is this one of the quote-unquote better targets that you had today, or are you kind of staying away from this one?
This will probably, it's kind of already, had a big run. I'm kind of honestly surprised that we're not going, not red today, given how much it moved. But it just had earnings. I haven't gone through in detail, but it seemed like they were pretty good. Nothing really interesting here on this, and there's no high short interest. There's no reverse splits. It's got a just under 7 million shares in the float. If it provides trades, of course I'll trade it, but I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of meat left on this bone.
Okay. I'm with you there. To me, just to kind of borrow something that Jay Rice has told us when we've talked about some of these meme stocks, I think the easier trade or the easier group of trades is past on MGOL. I think it gets considerably harder from here. We'll see if that story changes when the market opens here today. That's just kind of where I sit on this. All right. Next one here on the list is going to be RZLT. This is Resolute. I'm a fan of anything that uses Z's in the company name. Z's are a good letter. Resolute shares trading higher after the company reported top-line results from its phase 2 clinical study of RZ402 in patients with DME met its primary study endpoints. So we talked recently about some of these stocks that would move on PRs about getting accepted for a phase 2 trial or something like that. Here we go. We're actually getting top line results from this trial. It's driving Resolute higher here. Looks like we on the release of these, we actually traded up into a 5 handle, almost tested 6. We've come a little bit back down to earth since then, holding here at about 370. We are below the 416 VWAP. I'd actually like to see this kind of get taken out. As far as pre-market action here, I'm encouraged that on the way down here, we kind of double tested this 350 area and so far have held it. Looks like we're trying to curl back up here. A lot of this is going to determine what the actual volume looks like when the market opens. What kind of volume are we going to get at the print? What's it going to do to the price then? I think that if we get a pretty big volume pop on this and we actually move through the VWAP to the upside, I actually think that sets up nicely for multiple trades later on in the day. We'll see if we get that here. Ticker RZLT. 13, did you go through? I don't know if this is one that you prepared for, so I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but are you ready for this one here?
Yeah, so this one, like you said, they had a top line phase 2 results. They also had earnings last week, and the following day, they got a buy rating with a $14 price target from HC Wainwright and Company. So the top line phase 2 results, buy rating, it's got a 16.9 million share float. So, it'll move around. It did do and this isn't material, it did do a 1 for 50 reverse split back in 2020. That's the only reverse split information I could find. So not a big deal. This is this could have some movement throughout the day. Just have to wait and see what the morning gives us. But this is some better news than some of these other things we've been seeing today.
Okay. Really good stuff here on RZLT. This one, definitely watching. Okay, next here is going to be SunPower. This is SPWR. We've taken a look at this one for some of the meme crazes recently. Here you go. On May 14th, you can see this thing actually traded up above 750 on that meme craze. Today, SunPower shares are trading higher after the company announced it will now offer Tesla Powerwall 3 as part of its portfolio. Okay, so all of the meme stuff aside, this actually sounds like a legit development. Tesla's Powerwall, one of the batteries used for solar setups. As I understand, I don't have one, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, the Powerwall is effectively a reservoir for the power. The solar panels collect sunlight, save it in the Powerwall, and you can use it in your house. I'll tell you what, 13, on the surface, this seems like a pretty good thing. I don't really follow the whole solar angle a whole lot, other than that, it's a lot of it is dependent upon interest rates. But this development seems pretty good for SunPower. What do you think here on SPWR? Well,
I'm kind of curious as to why we've not seen a little bit more of a reaction out of Tesla stock, and that did show up on their news feed. Because I don't know what the details are between the partnership they have with pushing out more. They're batteries, by the way. Let's just call them batteries. I don't know what what their deal is that they have together, but I would assume that Tesla stands to gain from this in a pretty big way. Same thing with SunPower. I really don't know what to really make of this. This isn't something I covered this morning.
Yeah, but, I think that this is recent. On the surface here, I actually think that this is probably good for both. Thinking about it says seems good for Tesla.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I mean, to me, that just seems good for both companies, unless there's something here that I'm not understanding. To me, this definitely seems good. Market's reacting here. Market's telling you it likes this higher here. Volume looks really good. Let's see what happens at the opening print. At this point, I'd be using the VWAP for a potential support level. If the volume really kind of turns to selling volume, I think there's probably something else here. But I'll be honest, so far, this actually seems like a pretty good PR. I'm definitely gonna watch this around the open. Definitely going to watch this around the open.
That's a good
Trevor's,
point with Crow. Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Had a really good point about the short interest. I'm not seeing 90%, but I do see a very high short interest reading here of 63.8% with 7.8 days to cover. So 90%, 60%, it's still very, very high. So this is, squeezing as well.
Yeah, and we are actually due for another update to that data point in several days. Remember, official short interest comes twice per month. That was recently updated on May 9th. So a little bit stale there if shorts have built from that last crazy run, I guess, the meme run that SPWR participated in. So just something to think there.
You had mentioned Trevor Edmonds' comment.
Yeah, I really wanted to go here. Trevor Edmonds saying, "Are y'all into crypto at all?" You're always going to get bonus points from me if you use y'all. I really like that myself. That's pretty sweet. I am definitely into crypto, Trevor. But I think what you might be asking about here is, do we actually actively trade crypto? I'm about as boring as it gets when it comes to that. I'm a hodler, right? So I basically bought some Bitcoin, I mined some Bitcoin, and I just held it all. So I don't trade any of the shit coins, as they're called. I don't actively trade any of the crypto coins or anything like that. I focus most of my active trading on the market. Now, what I will say, a little caveat there, is that we will often, especially on this show, look at what Bitcoin is doing, what some of the other coins are doing, and then how that affects other stocks in the market, notably like Mara, Riot, CleanSpark, HUT, BTBT. So there are plenty of stocks in the market that are tied to Bitcoin in one way or another. And yes, we actively trade those. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I traded crypto in 2020. I haven't traded it since. Since then, I've just been doing the stocks that move on it, like Mara and CLSK and those like. But I have traded the ETFs. I actually held some of the ETFs into the movement back up to the all-time highs before it broke that. I don't have it anymore. But as far as trading crypto directly, I don't. I just like to trade the stocks that are tied to the crypto.
Yeah. So there you go, Trevor. Like I said, hope that helps. Let us know if you have any other follow-up questions there. Next here on the list is going to be Woof. I'm not joking. Is WOOF, Petco Health and Wellness. Petco Health or Petco shares, are trading higher following better than expected Q1 financial results. It's traded above 340. It's really kind of come back in. Same deal here, using the VWAP as resistance. Until that VWAP is taken down on volume, or you get any price that tries to build above that level, I think that this is probably not going to have the juice. Volume is actually kind of muted here in the pre-market, especially in comparison to some of these other ones. Let's see what happens around the opening print. But for me, I got to see something else happen here first. We're getting started here. Really quickly, I did want to mention Pinduoduo. They reported earnings beat. They're higher. This is a Chinese internet name, one of the best in breed as far as the internet names, given the fact that it's China. Also, Shopify shares are trading higher after Goldman Sachs upgraded the stock from neutral to buy and raised its price target from 67 to 74. So Shop getting an upgrade and a price target hike, and that price is higher. Also wanted to mention here some of the meme names. We've been checking in on them all week. GME here popped a little bit and turned around. AMC also kind of turning around here. Real quick, there was some news yesterday that was making its way around the internet that RFK, possible presidential candidate, is buying GME. I don't really think that's a catalyst. You make of it what you will. We are open here. I'm going to flip over to Trade the Pool. Remember, folks, if you need help getting more buying power or need to get above that 25K day trading threshold, Trade the Pool is your answer. Go check them out. Okay.
SYTA with nice movement out of the gate here. Sorry about my phone.
All good. Okay, appreciate this, Jay. I'll be honest, I've got one thing on the mind. TJX, Williams-Sonoma, ADI earnings. Those are those all were those this morning? Let me just check here real quick. TJX were those already this morning? I'll check my calendar here. Sorry, I ran out of time there.
BuzzFeed also moving. It just put in and broke the pre-market high.
Yeah, it did. Came back in when it broke that pre-market high, but it did take that out. New high here, 425 on BuzzFeed.
Looking for SYTA to try to do the same thing. It's got some pretty good volume at the moment. It might. The pre-market high in that one is 455.
Real quick, Williams-Sonoma, TJX, and ADI all before market earnings report. So all of those are already out. Coming up after the close here today, we obviously have Nvidia, Snow, and also Synopsys, SNPS. Jay, I know that's one of your favorite ones as well. Okay.
Another one that's moving that was not on the list is BE, Bloom Energy. This one's moving pretty well out of the gate. Look like it's going to move up to about 16 where there's a wall of sell orders.
This had a really good day yesterday. Yeah. This is also tied to the AI play on Bloom Energy here.
Yep. So that one's looking pretty good.
Sure is.
Palantir had a nice move up out of the gate. Sorry, I'm not covering, I'm talking about some of these other ones we weren't covering this morning, but I'm looking at all kinds of things that move. So I'll let
cover
you know.
The things that are moving, my man. Yeah. That's no problem here. Here, you know what? I'll step outside of my comfort zone too. I see you doing that, and I raise you one of my own. Ticker AKTS, penny stock here. Looks like it dipped towards the VWAP and is bouncing here. Let's see if we take those pre-market highs out. 50 cents, your spot here on AKTS. We'll check back in on SYTA. That is taking out the pre-market high. Looks like that's going higher here. Really good volume stick right off the open on this one as well. BuzzFeed, after that pop, now we have a drop. Let's see if we get a test here at VWAP.
MGOL is just going down the hole. And then Zim just had a pop, but it went right to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute where it stopped. So I don't know about. Oh no, now it's through it. I don't know about this one though, because that whole trade idea was over. But this one could still keep moving. So
13. What do you think about a pullback towards the 20-day moving average on the daily? That puts us at about 1545. I think I'm a buyer there for another potential swing on Zim.
Let me see.
That reminded me of like a 1920s gangster right there. Okay, let me keep, while you're taking a look at that, let me keep flipping around to what the chat is looking at. Gary Fabian, VIPs up on earnings. VIP Shop, actually a nice little move here on VIPs right out of the earnings. Didn't have this one covered. Appreciate you mentioning that.
For Zim, if it does go back to would you say 1550?
1545, I believe. Okay. Let me get you that exact. Yeah, 1545 is that exact number.
Let me just throw it out there. I would guess that we touch the 500-day SMA before we go down to there. I think we're going to have one last push up over 20, and then we could probably end up coming back down to that, to the 20-day SMA.
Okay.
So let's see what happens, because we're in a consolidation pattern right now. So I'd want to see it break beneath. Let's call it 17. We'll call it 1725 and 20. So it's going to, it has to choose a direction first, and then I'll make a determination of what I want to do with it.
Okay. Sounds good. Woof here. Looks like that's reclaiming the VWAP. This chart, to my eye, looks like this wants to go, but I'm very, very untrustworthy when it comes to Woof. Maybe because I had a bad experience with Dog Z in the past. Real quick here, RP Trade saying, I caught the BuzzFeed spike. That's ticker BZFT. Nice. Small gain, but it's enough for me. I'm out. Have a good day, everybody. See you later. RP Trade's obviously working the really, really good schedule, right? Yep. Hit a trade right in the morning pretty early, make some money, 1 for 1. Work is done. Absolutely love that RP trade. See you tomorrow.
Wiss is pointing out Duo. That one's having a nice green candle out of the gate here. And MGOL might be recovering.
MGOL. Well, we got breaking news. Breaking news here. Jay Rice would be a buyer of FFIE at 5 cents. So here we are at $1.08. $1.18. This goes all the way down to 5 cents. We've got the floor there from Jay Rice. Good to know there. I kid, of course. Let's take a look and see what else is moving around a little bit more seriously. It looks like BuzzFeed's unable to break down. You said MGOL might be recovering. Let's check that out. Looks like that initial dip there kind of bought up at 140. Low print of the day, 133. Vips is getting squawked by Charlie. Thank you, Lynn and Randy. That's helpful to know. Let's see what that was all about, huh?
Just looking to see if SYTA is going to push higher, and it looks like it is. Okay, there we go.
See anything on here? Let me actually check Benzinga Pro. Sorry, I'm leaving the M. Let me know if you need me to change this. I'm almost done checking this stuff.
Wolf looking better. Yeah, SYTA going, yeah.
Vip Shop spiking to the high following their earnings report. Shares up about 5.75% now on Vips. Okay, God, I do love that. The squawk transcription, folks. It's getting better and better and better. Really, really helpful there. Okay. Now I feel behind though.
So
go ahead.
BE got over 16, got as high as 16.15, and then pulled back. This is
SYTA. Yeah, I know. SYTA trying to break its high. Here is BE. This looks the same. 13 looks like it is trying to go higher right off this VWAP.
And yeah, I mean, I want to see the VWAP hold this maybe for another 5 minutes or so before it tries to push up. I mean, it could go now, but the VWAP is where I want to see this hold for more upside. So it's looking like we're getting that for the time being. Let's see if we can keep that going. RZLT, that, I don't know. Maybe this one's not the one to be trading today because it's just been doing nothing but going down. Maybe we'll get a recovery later. SYTA, now that's starting to pull as well. Back down to the VWAP. Let's see if the VWAP can hold it. Maybe there'll be another trade setting up there.
I filled some of this BE right up here at 16. Filled it in a little bit smaller size than I would take for one of these day trades. Let's see if we pop here. If we pull back beneath the VWAP just a little bit, I'll probably add dollar cost average a little bit here. If we really start to knife
BuzzFeed.
And fall, I'll just cut it. BuzzFeed's moving.
BuzzFeed
here.
with a big old pop.
That pop took out and set new highs here on BuzzFeed. This might not be done.
No, I don't think it was. It is.
I don't think this is done, folks.
And I'm just still waiting to see if SYTA is going to hold that VWAP. So far, so good.
BE going for that 16.15 intraday high. We'll see if that gets taken out here on BE. They're bringing in some more size here at 610, but man, that got eaten. That didn't even slow it down, dude. It didn't even slow it down. I think this 16.15 is going to fall here.
Okay. Oh, SYTA with a big old knife. So it didn't hold VWAP, but it's still not completely breaking down. But it just had a big knife off that high print.
Oh, here we go. And this is right at the VWAP. Let's see if it actually holds that VWAP. BE coming back in, not strong enough to take out that flag on the first attempt. Dinero, thank you for joining us from the Twitter streets, mentioning Nvidia is going. Yeah, going red. I completely agree. Red or green to red move there. Sorry, 13. What was that?
BuzzFeed went higher.
BZFD. Boy, we got a lot going on here, 13. This is better than us yawning at the market, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I put my pillow back in the bedroom.
Okay. That's pretty good. BE still kind of holding here, trying to resolve higher. 16.15 going to be that spot. If we break it, let's see. I'm flip back my scan. Go ahead. Sorry.
BuzzFeed just has like a really good amount of volume right now. This might be DJT light right now.
It's buzzing.
Since Vivek is in this, and he's so kind of
let me ask you, what is going on here with a bunch of politicians, whether it's Trump, Vivek, RFK, the name almost doesn't matter. Politicians being mentioned with stocks, and then all of a sudden those stocks are taking off. I mean, to me, it sure seems like the retail market or the market itself thinks basically any politician that's going to get involved in a particular stock is probably going to make that company win. So let's trade it. That's kind of what I gather.
My thought on it is that, hey, if we, put this out, that's this particular politician who likely has some, inside contacts within the company or within the the realm of the companies that are they're interested in. They might know something that the average retail trader might know. So the thought is, if they are buying something, they might know something. I'm going to buy it too.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing I'm getting from it.
That seems correct to me. And 13, I don't know, man. I think that this might, this could end badly in some of these names. But look, if it's what we're getting right now, it's what we're getting right now. Jane Smith is just absolutely doing work here. Out BuzzFeed 449. Jim, would love to know what the entry was on that one. Looks like BE. Did we break that 615?
Barely.
Yeah, we did by 1 cent. Now we're still holding in here. At this point, we're going to pull one of the protection orders that we do pretty regularly. We're going to go ahead and make sure that we stop. Oh my God, is it going to come all the way back in and stop me out even? You know what? I actually might lower that a little bit because I kind of want to stay in this.
It kind of looks like BE might have a little bit of a pullback here, maybe going beneath the VWAP. It just kind of, the formation isn't great. This is kind of bearish, the way that it's forming.
To me, it looks like it's trying to push out here and go higher. But I agree with you. Ultimately, if it can't do that, it's going to find some weakness. You know what? I am gonna protect. There's just I just don't want to take a loss on this. We'll see if BE ends up getting a better move here. Here we go at 16.16. Let's see if we pop above here. There we go. There's the pop that we were looking for. That's what we were looking for here. We'll close that right here. Nice little scalp. Get some green on the screen. I'll wait for this to set up again.
If this does come back in, I'm going to be looking for some support around the 1575 level. If we can come back in beneath VWAP, get down to there and hold that level, that'd be, I think, a good spot to get back in.
I would reload at that spot as well, by the way. So I think you're onto something there. Real quickly here, RZLT looks like that moved lower out of the gate, but is trying to curl. We're getting a GME mention here from Gary. Looks like GME did come back to the VWAP. So far has struggled with it. We'll see though.
SYTA is now showing 2 knives. So knives out for SYTA. How's Fuzzbleed doing? Oh, that one has a matching red candle to its green.
I don't know if that was a mistake or if that was on purpose, but I'm just going to let that one roll.
Yeah, no, Fuzzbleed.
BuzzFeed. Okay. BNet here. That's that penny stock that looked like it was trying to go for $1. It is not going to go down without a fight. We'll see if there's some support put in here at 98 cents. There we go. Right back to $1. BNet. AMD pop and now tanking.
BE says, forget your short idea.
I'm just going to keep going. BE keeps going here. This was a decent one.
Yeah,
this was a decent one. Jay Rice mentioning Synopsys HOD ahead of its earnings here on SNPS. Jay, are you playing the earnings on this or no? Are you? I know you. Sometimes you do play earnings. Sometimes you play before and after. Let me know what your plan here is on Synopsys reporting after hours here today.
Another one that's doing pretty good today. It's a little bit of a larger company to trade is MP Materials, ticker MP. That went from about $17.60 to over $18. Now it seems to have slowed down, but that was a nice move. You keep an eye on that one. Looks like Duo, after its initial pop and it came back in, it's getting held up by VWAP. So this could be another trade just setting up to get going here in the next matter of minutes.
Okay. Real quickly here, Jay answering my question here. I own shares of Synopsys a lot lower. That right there tells me that you're not just playing this for earnings and you are not getting rid of that position ahead of earnings. You're likely going to stay in that. Good stuff there. Hope it beats for you. Jane Smith, maybe the room can answer this, but why do some stocks fall even after good earnings? Now, this is an interesting one, 13, because we talk about this quite a bit on Happy Hour, what this means, what we'd like to see. A lot of the times what will happen here is that there's really no one left, right? Take Apple, for example. There have been a number of times where Apple's put out a really good report, stock trades lower. Who doesn't own Apple at some point? now that it's this popular or this well run of a company. The other thing is that sometimes the buying momentum, the upside momentum, can just simply be exhausted. One of the things our group is waiting for here is Nvidia. When they report a good earnings report, I don't want to see it trade up very much. I want to see it maybe stay flat or maybe even trade down a little after a good report. That tells me that things might be changing there, and we might have a new trend to take a look at. So 13, you have anything you want to add to Jane's question here, or anyone else in the room?
Lately, for me, it's been in some cases profit taking. In other cases, it's been guidance. If earnings is good and guidance is not, then they will sell because they have this expectation that the money's already been made. It might not go any higher if they're not expecting the growth to be as robust as it has been for them. So if they don't guide as well, you typically see sell-offs on that piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple of answers here from the community. It's always about supply and demand. Jonathan's exactly right. And frankly, if there's just a ton of supply and the demand just doesn't outweigh it, that's down in terms of the price, even if everything's going really well there. Zippity saying it's all about the setup going in the earnings. Did the stock run? If so,
Sometimes.
Could be fully priced in and doesn't matter. WTF earnings were, it's going to be a sell the news. Jay saying something very, very similar. Depends on the setup. If name runs into earnings, it's tougher for that name to then go more. So really, really good stuff here from the group. Let me know if that's helpful there, Jane. Thank you. Awesome lesson learned. There you go. That's what we do here, folks. Awesome stuff. Okay, BNED, this did pop into a halt. Sorry, 13. Go ahead.
It's okay. That mention of Duo is really starting to take shape here. It's VWAP holding up pretty well, and as I say that now, it's pulling a little bit. But ever since it touched VWAP, that was a good entry. It moved up. How much? It moved up about 10 cents. Close to 10 cents off of that bounce. So not a bad trade there, quick in and out, but I'm still looking for this to go a little bit higher. It just needs to start having that volume expand a little bit more, or else we might be topping out.
Tesla here breaking down a little bit. Bloom Energy continuing to run here. Looks like 17's on deck. Boy, I might have got out of that one a little bit too early. Selling into that pop, but that's okay. That's okay. Green on the screen to start here. ADI, this is another one that was mentioned here this morning. Good earnings. This actually going higher off of that earnings pop. So a little bit of a move higher even after the earnings. Let's see. Macy's. This is higher after yesterday on Macy's.
So SYTA breaking down.
Indeed, this below the VWAP here.
RZLT doing the same. BuzzFeed is kind of going sideways. It's just slightly underneath my VWAP, but it's not down and out yet.
It's actually just above my VWAP. And the interesting part is that last knife, that last little wick took us right to the VWAP and we bounced. Wasn't a huge bounce, but it was a bounce. Let's see if we can keep going here. I know Wisdom would love this. We got size at 420 on BuzzFeed.
BE, by the way, popped over 17. I took a quick the trade there because I thought, you know what? I may as well just go small here. And if this continues to run, it's going to be fine. And that's what happened. So that was a gamble, but it worked. And now we're starting to pull.
See, I'll tell you what, though. Let's let it pull. Let's come back into another spot here and give us a tradable entry on that. It's like Nicholas on BE as well. Good stuff, folks.
Caddyshack saying index.
Okay, NXT here. This is next tracker. This actually moving higher after a good day yesterday. No position on this. Let's see. This is currently at about $48. That 50-day moving average is coming, isn't it? Where do we have that there? Let me see. 49.20. Yep, we are running up towards that 50. Let's see if Next can actually trade above that 50-day moving average and then build. Here's your NVAX. Sorry it took me so long.
No worries. That's a great call out, guys. Awesome. NVAX is looking pretty good, but it's slowing down a little bit.
Indeed. NVAX, we talked about this one yesterday. This one moving yesterday. Today actually looks like it's teasing a breakout here. Want to see? Actually, we fully did. This is yesterday's candle here. Broke above 1571. Here we go. Giddy up. Breakout here on NVAX. Dinero, you got it.
Who's having fun today? Who's having fun? This is fun.
I woke up having fun. I woke up and I was like, you know what? Today is going to be a good day. That is having fun, being happy. That is a choice, and we are going to make the right one here today.
So MGOL, after it initially opened and went down. It had a pop and came back in. We're still a bit sideways in this one, but it's not done yet. There is a big sell order at 160. So choose through that. We'll probably see some better price action, but for the moment, it's kind of heavy. What?
MGOL so far defending that 140 area pretty well. We talked a little bit about Macy's being up earlier. TJX, this is another one reported earnings this morning. This continuing to move higher here. Looks like a Gap and Go would have worked on any of these retail names here. Looks like they all had a little bit more juice. Target, the laggard of this group here. Not surprising here. We've actually, Lynn and Randy, you've done a really good job telling us that Walmart has really been eating Target's lunch in all forms recently. And we're seeing that here today in the earnings report. How is Walmart doing, by the way? Walmart higher here on the back of that.
And Target bouncing off its 200-day SMA and also has a RSI of 23. This could be a decent bounce play. Play that how trade that how you will. But it seems like it's getting some support from a very key moving average on the daily chart.
BNED here looks like this was halted. This opened and then rehalted 35 seconds later to the downside, 9-cent range here. Gosh, folks, I'll be honest. I'm just glad I'm not trading BNED. BuzzFeed here kind of consolidating and compressing. I got to think that there's a move coming. Question is here, is this higher or lower? I would say, I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to say that this, but call me crazy, but I kind of want to say that this thing breaks higher out of this. Nicholas asking 13, if BE pops 17, what is the next level of resistance? By the way, we are above 17 here. We really need to hold this to see. Let me bring up a bigger chart here and we'll see if we can chart this one together. Ticker BE.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if SYTA reverses here. It looks like it's trying to, but yeah, I'll take a look at BE and see where the next resistance levels are. Oh, perfect. Here we go. SYTA turning around.
So I'll go to SYTA here in a sec, but just to answer Nick's question, Nick, first of all, I think we are at some resistance right around here. 1668 marks the 500-day resistance on Bloom Energy. We've gone right through that here. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of maybe consolidate around this level. Let's take a look at some longer time frames and see if the story's any different. Weekly here has the 100 weekly moving average at 1658. That's just about the value we saw on the daily chart with the 500. We're above that here. Monthly, very, very same deal. To me, it looks like maybe the trend has changed here. We want to see some more data. I would like to see several closes above this level here, ticker BE.
So I'll tell you a few things about, because I wrote a little piece about this in the happy hour chat, because it looked like it was going to go higher. So let me just scroll back up to that and I'll tell you exactly what I said here. The stock may have turned a corner as the price has been closing over the 200-day SMA consistently for the first time since Q1 last year. Should this price action continue, there will be a golden cross in a matter of days. We're almost there. The RSI is indicating that the stock is overbought. So a good scenario for this stock would be to retest at the 200-day SMA as support. That might happen after the price hits resistance at 16 or the 500-day SMA. We're actually through both of those now. Weekly and monthly charts appear supportive of the expected price action I've mentioned. So my expectation for this is that it's very extended and that it needs to come back in. Now, if we come back in and we get a support on the 200-day SMA, that's going to probably be a very big bull signal as the price is clearly turning around and we're getting a technical read of a golden cross where the 50-day SMA crosses the 200-day SMA to the upside. So that's what I'm expecting. I don't know how much more this run happens, seeing as how extended we are. But that's what I would be expecting after today, that we start to see the price come back in and start testing some levels. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that was a really, really thorough answer there. Appreciate it, 13. Really good job. The other thing is that we have another special guest for you folks today. Another special guest. Special guest is in the back. Are you ready? Can I get a thumbs up to let me know that you are ready? Bang! We got a thumbs up. That means we are going to go to him. Tim Melvin joins the live trading program here this morning. Tim, happy Wednesday. How are you doing here today?
We are doing fine. Perhaps a little warmer than we'd like to be down here in Southwest Florida today, but that's probably better than the problem a lot of folks up in the Midwest are having today. So we'll go with it.
What is the temperature down there in Florida? What are you
well,
looking
right
at?
now it's about 85. We're going to hit 95 today, which is flirting with the record. We went ahead and we turned the blowers on early this year. So
okay. I love our Florida brethren. The people that run their air conditioner on Christmas absolutely love it. It's actually a really mild 70 degrees here in the Midwest here today. Nice and sunny here today. So fingers crossed. Tim, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us. I got a couple of questions. First of all, I'd like to know what your thoughts are on the overall market and kind of where we stand. I'd really like to know if you have any thoughts on Nvidia's earnings print, which is, of course, top of mind for the market here today. And then also for our viewers that might not know who you are, can you tell them a little bit about yourself and your trading style?
Okay, well, let's start with the last question first.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of folks on Benzinga are going to know me. I mean, we've had banking on profits on Market 5 for over a decade now, where we invest in small community banks at discounts to book value, taking advantage of the consolidation trend. To say it's been profitable is sort of an understatement. We average, around 10 takeovers in the portfolio a year. So it's been fantastic. And then we have Benzinga Yield Report that we just started that is a total return portfolio based on shareholder yield. Companies that are paying and growing a dividend and buying back stock, earning high returns on equity, high quality businesses that are giving cash back to shareholders. So we're a deep value guy, have been for decades, literally. I have learned over the years that if I can buy really good businesses at really good prices based on cash flows and earnings, all the work's done. Right now, I just got to sit back and let time do its job. So we don't do a lot of short-term trading, and it's the royal we. My staff is 3 dogs and 2 cats. I get confused how many of these damn things I have. So buying great businesses, and I do like banks because of the consolidation theory, but I also like real estate, love energy in here. If we can buy them for less than the value of the assets at low multiples of cash flow, one of two things is going to happen. Okay. The stock's either going to go higher as the business continues to improve, or somebody's going to buy it from me. So it's just, at that point, it's really just a matter of being patient and wait and not screwing up the valuation or the credit analysis of the business. Now, as I've gotten older, I've gotten better at that last part. So.
I'll say your trading strategy here, slow and steady, wins the race over the long haul. That's what I like to do here. Jason, obviously, sounds like you've made, Jason, quite a bit of money. You have been around with us for a long time. So really awesome stuff there. Anything else that you want to say on the banks or the broader market here about where the potential good trades are?
Well, look, everybody says, the time to buy is when the blood is in the streets and, buy low, sell high. But when the blood is in the streets and it's time to buy low, it's like leading the charge on the battlefield and realizing that all of your troops went home, because when you turn around, you're the only one doing it, right?
Yep.
When the blood is in the streets, everybody runs. I got my securities license, my first mutual fund license in 1984. I've been doing this. I've seen the blood in the streets. I've waded through the stuff over the decades. Most people panic and run. So you got to be a little stoic about it, because buying this stuff when nobody wants it, like banks right now, banks especially, say March of last year, earlier this year, when the headlines were all the banks were going broke and commercial real estate was going to collapse the universe. When you're buying those, you're the only one, right? But now here we are. You're going to be the only one doing this. If you're waiting in right now, the 3 most undervalued things on the planet: commercial real estate, banks, especially smaller banks, and believe it or not, renewable energy assets are like stupid cheap. if you're buying those right now, you're alone. You're going to be all by yourself. And when you're around the water cooler at work, they're going to tell you how stupid you are and how much you missed this super top secret double special AI stock that everybody else bought. And that, you should just put all of your money in Nvidia and it's all going to be okay. And look, I'm not taking anything away from Nvidia. This is one of the greatest companies in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're buying it now, I'm going to suggest that you're late to the party. Now, if you're trading it, that's beyond my expertise. Best of luck to you. And as far as Nvidia's earnings tonight, I have no idea how the market's going to react based on their expectations of the expectations of all the other traders about the hopefully reasonably educated guess of the couple dozen analysts that follow this stock in relation to the last 3 months of earnings. Got no idea how all that's going to play out. Okay. I do know Nvidia is a fantastic company. They're so far ahead of their competition. It's ridiculous. But the real opportunity in AI to me is not in these companies. It's in energy.
Okay. So how about that? That is a take right there. 13. I got to go to you. This is stuff that we discuss every day. Honestly, it's refreshing to hear that. It is refreshing to hear that. And I love the example of the super top secret AI pick. That's rather entertaining.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we've talked about frequently in our happy hour segment that we do at the end of the market close. We're seeing the CPI reports, inflation in utilities, in that particular electricity generation sector, still be a major component of inflation, and we've seen the demand for energy increase since we've had these the AI companies and AI chips start to really take off. Same thing with getting all these new EVs onto the grid. Yep. We still don't have enough power generation for all the new homes that we're building. Water infrastructure is going to be another big aspect of more power generation as we start to transition more towards nuclear fuel. We're starting to see that more happen now, and chip fabs. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that are going to be very demanding of power and water in the future that we're just not set up for quite yet, and that there's going to be a lot of money spent on in order to get up to that.
Yeah, where we're looking, and Sam Altman, just his background, he stepped on the stage at Davos earlier this year, and he said the full potential of AI cannot be reached without a breakthrough in energy. Now, he talked about nuclear, fission, and fusion. Now, nuclear fission, traditional nuclear power, really is the answer. And to 13's point, we are seeing some signs of it. Not enough. All right. If we got together and we said, okay, we're the ABC utility or we're Florida Power and Light, we're going to build a new nuke. And here's where we're going to build it. We got all the plans. Maybe in 5 years, we'll have a new nuke plant that's ready to be permitted. That's if everything's perfect through the processes right now. Okay. Should be 2 years. It'll be at least 5. So we're a long way from that. And by the way, the permitting will not be perfect because it's Chernobyl, it's Fukushima, it's 3 Mile Island. It's that damn miniseries on Chernobyl on HBO. Nuclear energy actually has the best, safest, most reliable track record of any form of electricity except solar. It's by far the safest if you measure it by the grim statistic of deaths per terawatt hour. Nuclear and solar run hand in hand. Everything else kills a lot of people. But nuclear has a bad PR agent. So the way this has to go, AI demands can be enormous. The Nvidia chip is 30 times faster, uses 30 times more energy. Altman, admittedly, one of the smartest guys on the planet, estimates that each chip is going to approximately over its lifetime use the same amount of energy as a Tesla.
Wow.
Nvidia is shipping 2 million of those this year. The eventual shipments of those things will be 8 million. We don't have the energy production capacity, never mind the grid, to meet this demand. And renewable is not going to do it. So we're going to try. We saw Brookfield Energy. It's one of the stocks that we just added to the Benzinga yield report. And then they immediately announced that deal with Microsoft where they're going to do 10 gigawatts of renewable energy, and the stock shot up 40%. So we were pretty happy about that one. But so it's all hands on deck, and natural gas is the bridge. has to be. That's really cool because we can buy all these high yield natural gas producers and assets, collect fat dividends, and these things are going to go up for decades because it's going to take that long. We must go natural gas, nuclear to nuclear plus renewable. It really is. And I don't want to sound like I'm smarter than all the experts or anything else, but I've talked to those guys. And once they dumbed it down and explained it to me, that's really the only path. Right? It's natural gas replacing coal, stepping up natural gas to 13's point. It's industrial demand. It's new home demand. It's EV demand. The demand for electrification is going to be enormous. The only way to generate this stuff is natural gas. Natural gas has been in a bear market. The assets, the producers, the infrastructure, ridiculously cheap. Now, same thing can be said of renewable energy. And I'll just throw one out. Next Era Energy Partners. NEP.
What? NEB?
NEP.
NEP, excuse me.
Yeah. Now, do not let the partners in the name fool you. Okay. This thing is actually taxed as a corporation, so you get a 1099, not a K1. But it's a 12% dividend that they're going to grow at 10% a year. The thing got killed because solar panels, tariffs, shortages, industry problems, and people trying to value this thing on earnings, and it's the wrong way. You got to look at it as distribution, funds available for distribution. And it's solar assets, it's wind assets, it's the renewable division of Next Era Energy, which is Florida Power and Light, one of the largest utilities in the country. So there's that backing, and they are the renewable division of Florida Power and Light. This thing's just sitting there. It's ridiculously undervalued. They have financing in place. They have a conservative balance sheet. The dividend is easily covered by cash flows. And whether we think it's smart, stupid, or somewhere in between, we're going to spend the money on renewable energy. It's going to happen. So you can sit back, collect your 12% dividend, and this thing's going to go up. And you've got the government driving the money on this. Yeah. And the big utilities. So it's renewable energy and natural gas assets it's a long runway to a lot of money.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And you actually went one step ahead of me here. This is awesome. Jason, earlier here, wanted to know, can you give us one bank and one renewable energy pick? Sounds like you just gave us the renewable energy pick here, ticker NEP. We'll get you out of here on this. You got another bank stock that you really like here?
Gonna give you two.
Boom, let's do it.
Okay. Third Coast Bank Shares, Humble, Texas. That is a suburb of Houston.
Ticker?
TCBX.
TCBX.
Yes. Startup bank, 2007. They got this thing kicked off. Business owners in the Houston area looking for a business bank. Texas is the best banking market in the country, period. Okay. You've got technology, you've got energy, you've got, and it's growing in a favorable tax and business environment. So smart management, growing the bank, really strong credit profile, like mostly business, commercial and industrial, and commercial real estate loans, but no problems. Okay. Which most people don't understand. Most banks don't really have a lot of credit problems right now. It's much better than you think it is. This bank is growing. It's trading at a big discount to book value. Here's the one thing I know about Texas banks. They get bought. Okay. IBTX just got bought the other day. It's Texas M&A market is strong. Somebody's going to want it because they're in Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, and the very quickly growing East Texas area of Beaumont. They're in the right markets with the right products, the right customer base. Somebody's eventually going to buy these guys.
Okay. I love potential buyout plays. That really, really interesting to me. I'm adding this one to my watch list immediately. Looks like Jason's doing some live trading with you here, so that's really awesome. I asked you for one. You said you're going to give us two. Giddy up. What's the other one? The
other one, also Texas Bank. Texas banks get bought. When you can buy a Texas bank under book value, you just buy it. You don't even ask questions. This is Texas Community Bank. TCBS on this one. This is guys, this one's a little less liquid. Do not use a limit order on this. Do not buy it if you plan to trade it. It ain't a trade. You're buying a business with this one. Okay. Now, this is Mineola Community Bank. Just changed its name to Broad Street because it's a cooler name. Mineola is a suburb of Dallas. It's about 80 miles away. that has always been a rural farm ag community and has slowly become a retirement and bedroom community for people that want to be retired, live a rural lifestyle, but still have access to, God help us, the Cowboys, the Rangers, the healthcare, the arts, everything that Dallas offers in less than a 2-hour drive. So we're seeing a lot of growth there. So this is a great little bank, been around since the Great Depression. Loan portfolio is primarily single family homes, so and super clean, no problems. Lots of capital on hand, just restructured their securities portfolio. Thrift conversions are my favorite thing on the whole planet, right? The average lifespan of a thrift that converts to a bank, it's usually taken over within 5 years, which is remarkable because it can't be taken over for the first 3. Now, Texas community banks takeover protections expire on July 16th.
Okay. Giddy up. That's right around the corner.
Right. And when you look at these, and I just might, one final thought, the way we do these is we look at high levels of capital, pristine loan portfolios, right? We're not buying speculative banks or risky banks or turnaround banks. We're buying banks that could literally withstand the storm. Right.
Okay.
We're buying them at depressed valuations. I can't do anything about the day-to-day price, and I don't really care about it. I care about the price that I paid for that bank today relative to valuation and the price that somebody someday is going to pay me to buy the bank.
Makes a lot of sense. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So does Jason too. So awesome stuff. Tim, this is more than we bargained for here today. I got to say, can we get you back here? Can we make this like a weekly thing or maybe a bi-weekly thing?
Absolutely. I'll come on, every week. I have no problem doing that. I really enjoy it, in case you can't tell.
I can tell, and that's awesome because what we really need here is a bank and long-term expert, and you fit that bill. Tim, thanks so much. Again, I did.
Thank you very much, Tim.
That was really really awesome.
Thank you for all you do, guys. I appreciate it.
Yep, no problem at all. I went ahead and linked Tim's yield report in the chat. The other thing is, if you want to see a webinar with all of our mavens, let me go ahead and give you a sign-up link for that as well. Tim, thanks so much.
Thanks,
How about
guys.
next Wednesday?
What's that?
How about next Wednesday?
Yeah, that's done. Same time?
Yep, sounds good. You heard it here first. We'll see you next week, Tim. Thanks so much for everything. Take care.
All right, thank you.
All right, folks, that is Tim Melvin. Boy, 13, that definitely got me excited. That I know we constantly deal with the really fast-moving, smaller, kind of quote-unquote junkier names here. That was super exciting. And Jason, I really appreciate you jumping on with that as well.
I'm always happy when I hear, somebody talking good about Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. Or also dividends. That also fits your investment thesis. Quality companies at depressed valuations. Yes, sir. Abby, he was checking the list on all of those.
That BEP that he mentioned, I've been in that one for a while now. I like that company.
Okay.
They have several. Brookfield actually has several stocks that you can trade. So they have different, segments. Like it's like BAM, BIP, BEP, and I think there's a couple of more. But one's an asset management stock, another's a infrastructure management stock, and then of course BEP is the renewable energies segment. So
yeah, and I love what he said there about renewables. I think he really hit that right on the head. Okay, let's get back to some of the action here. What happened to BuzzFeed? Is it bleeding? Is this what happened?
It's BuzzBleed. It's BuzzBleed.
It's BuzzBleed now.
No, it's BuzzBleed.
This moving to the downside here. We'll see if this ends up putting in a bottom here. Maybe it defends the 3 level. I'm not a believer of it. Glad we kind of stayed away from here. How about SunPower? I know we just talked a little bit about renewable energies there. SunPower, this actually looks like it's reclaimed the VWAP. Volume is kind of dried up. Let's see if it builds and maybe gets another push in there. What else is moving around here, folks? BNAD, this penny stock, looks like this is full on into dollar territory now, as this trying to take out the highs here. Got those highs at what, 130 is where this stopped? 136, I beg your pardon, where this thing stopped earlier. What else do you folks have going on here?
Look at
NVAX. What did NVAX end up doing? Pull back, EWAP, nice little setup for a potential scalp trade here, okay?
There was let's see, RZLT seems to be curling. No trade from you there yet. You said, but we're looking at Bloom Energy. This one looks like it may be turning around and trying to take the intraday high of 1726. Volume's a little bit low, so it's going to need to expand a bit more in order to push through that level. But so far, the formation looks pretty good here.
Nicholas, I absolutely love this comment. Tim just helped build portfolios for 100 people in a 10-minute window. That is exactly what happened here. I'm actually I'm sitting here thinking like we're going on with the show, but I'm thinking, how could I reallocate my profit to have some more of this? That's absolutely spot on, Nicholas. We love
Hit like and subscribe for Tim.
Hit like and subscribe for Tim. Stay focused. Welcome back here this morning. Smashing the like. This has been a great show here today. Lots of stuff going on of multiple speeds. Really, really appreciate it.
There's one here. I don't know if we talked about it. It looks like when we traded before. LRMR. This one had a nice move this morning. Kind of consolidated a bit, and then it pushed up recently while we were talking with Tim. Slowed down, but interesting. So just kind of putting that on your radar. I don't know what it does from here, but it looks like it still wants to go higher.
Yeah, pretty nice looking daily chart here too on LRMR. Really good stuff there. One question here. Let's see. I think I missed something here. Bosch Trading. Bosch, great to see you here this morning. If you have a Lamborghini, this just came in. The supercar maker is recalling 2,133 of its high-priced sport utility vehicles over risk that the hoods may fly open. A couple of things here. Number one, reason I'm highlighting this is some scary shit. I have actually had the hood on my own car fly open while I was going 40 miles an hour. It smashed and spiderwebbed the window. I couldn't see anything while the car was moving. It's really terrifying. Hope they get that fixed up here. But this just goes to show you recalls are a part of any auto manufacturer, from Ford to Lamborghini. You will occasionally get them. Bosch, I hadn't heard this news. Appreciate you breaking that on the show.
Yeah, what does that do for some of these other? What does that do for race? I'm just curious if it has any sideways effect.
Jay Breed saying, just great. I got to make a phone call now. Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, let's see what else is going on out here. What else do we have to trade, folks?
Yeah, it looks
streets.
It seems like BE still trying to push up to those highs. Just the volume, like we say every day, the volume seems to kind of have started escaping the market, kind of leaving. Some of these trades that we were doing earlier today, they're just not. They just don't have that same movement anymore. Some of them might, like BE, might have some. Let me take a look at the scanners and see what's moving right now, because all the trades that we were talking about this morning, they're kind of slowed down. So let's see what else is moving. I see a couple of things like BNED. Higher.
Sorry, Jay Rice kind of chiming into what we're talking about right here. Is it me? No, it's not you. Are most of these penny names and reverse splitters, they run the first hour as well as the pre-market and then die off as the day goes on? I know you were asking 13 here. 13, I'm going to jump in front a little bit here because this is exactly what I think happens. Yeah. We've actually been seeing this recently. This is one of the ways that you can identify something that's more of kind of a riskier day trade versus something that might have some legs. So a lot of the stocks that Tim was just talking about, they're not going to behave like this. Bloom Energy, certainly not going to behave like this. The key takeaway from what Jay is talking about here is that if you can notice a specific pattern, that's the pattern that you take advantage of. Mm-hmm. Right? What he's saying right here, some of these kind of smaller, junkier names, not the best opportunities in the afternoon. And if you're already on the backside of the move, look for something else.
Well, for me, I think that it's also going to be the environment. Right now, the environment isn't very favorable for these to last throughout the day, like they have been in Q1. Like in Q1, these names, they would move a little bit longer in the morning, and they'd come back later on in the day. Starting to not see that happen as much anymore, and it's the environment. So I'm going to blame it on that.
Yeah, indeed. By the way, Frey here, this was another battery play. This went above 250, coming back to the VWAP, seems to be holding there. BRSH, I'm just going to call it Brush because why not? This is another penny stock here. I'll avoid this, but this up 100% intraday from the start of that move on Brush. This is why some of these penny stocks are so watched, because they make huge moves like that. Again, on a lot of these, don't be afraid to take your gains if you have them. They're not going to sit around forever. First Solar here, we just talked a lot about renewable and solar. This having a great day here. Nice little gap and go move on First Solar as this is continuing to move higher here.
Market Sniper and I both noticing Wolf looking for a ball to chase there. It's it made a bit of a bull flag, kind of consolidated for about 10 minutes, and now it's trying to push up out of that consolidation. So if the volume expands, we might get that retest of the intraday high that I have at 306. I'm sorry, no, 330.
And I'm sorry, which ticker was this again? Woof. That's why I couldn't remember. You made a sound, and that's the actual ticker. Real quick here, smash up the like for our man Jason. Jumping on here. Jason has been one of the most supportive people in this industry, trying to help level the playing field for everyone. So be sure to smash up the like. Really appreciate him jumping on here today. Woof, 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 as we push away from the VWAP here. Is BuzzFeed still bleeding? Oh, it's not only is it bleeding, but we're actually knifing now, moving lower here.
Yeah, it came down to the top of a consolidation area from yesterday morning. So that might be providing some support temporarily. Now, if we keep going up from here, then that may be a short-term bottom.
Wait.
But the trade for me in BuzzFeed is over. I did it this morning. I'm done.
Over.
And remember, I forget who Buzzkill. I forget who had mentioned it earlier, but they said that Vivek had bought it at 250. So that might be a good level.
I couldn't confirm that. I did see that though. I appreciate the due diligence there. If that is in fact correct, we are moving back towards that 250 level as we speak here.
We didn't get too far away from it the last time that we 5 minutes ago. So it stands to reason we could end up touching it and then reversing. It's certainly looking like we're not turning around yet.
ADI, by the way, analog devices, this still moving pretty well after its earnings here this morning. Got a nice little pop right out of the open. Came back to VWAP, and we're holding that here so far. ADI remaining strong after its earnings. Williams-Sonoma, that was another earnings name here from this morning. We'll see how that's doing. That actually giving up some of its name. We'll see if that simmers down a little bit. TJX was ripping earlier. That continuing to put in highs. I'll say this. I've actually traded TJX options a number of times. One of the guys that I had been following, pretty sharp with retail names. These options, when they have a good earnings report, TJX definitely a stock worth trading. If that's not on your radar, maybe put it on your radar. I had no position this go around, but man, oh man, this thing's absolutely ripping here. 104 now on TJX.
And we could see those discount retailers start to continue to do better, because one of the things I've been seeing with these the last CPI report is that apparel has higher prices. So I was one kind of thinking that, well, maybe if the prices in apparel are rising, that the quarter that we're currently in right now, it might end up being good for some of these apparel retailers as far as their margins go. If they're charging higher prices, I think that could be good for some of these stocks. So I'm just kind of thinking outside the box there a little bit.
I think you're quite right, and that actually kind of wraps into the weakening consumer that we've been waiting for and talking about recently. So I'm absolutely with you there. Tiffany saying, can you take a look at Target again? Here you go, Tiffany. What is it that you're looking for here on Target? Target, I believe, reported earnings this morning, trading lower here. Let me get that for you real quick, just in case. Looks like they missed on EPS here today. Missed on the estimate. Sales beat, but barely, and I mean barely. And then they guided lower, as 13 just said. That is the guide outlook below consensus. That is almost always going to sink these stocks. Good news here on Target. We haven't really continued to break down in the regular session, so maybe it's kind of fished out the bottom here. If it wants to maybe close this gap and trade back up towards that 155 handle, first step here is going to be 145, 146. If that can fall, we'll go ahead and see. All right.
Yeah, I still think that it could continue to bounce up here. Now, maybe it finds some resistance at the 500-day SMA, which I have at 148.70. But the low RSI and the this morning's
Whoa.
bounce off of the 200-day SMA, it makes me think that there might be a little bit more upside up to at least that moving average that I just mentioned.
6G. This might be the first time I've read a comment from you, and boy, oh boy, is it a banger. Absolutely superb slot from Tim. I have to listen 5 times to take notes. Topped up energy at the lows, bang on. I am so glad to hear this feedback, 6G. That is awesome. Like you just saw, I was literally negotiating live here. We are going to get Tim to come back on a weekly basis. That spot is absolutely awesome. He is an expert in that field. And to be quite honest with you, as I was just telling you, I think I could probably rebalance my investment portfolio with a little bit of his help. So I appreciate you taking the time to type this out. We will absolutely bring him back on. We'll try and keep getting you that A+ content. Appreciate that comment.
Bloom Energy still slowly moving up. It's back above 17 for the moment.
This has been a really great trade, and honestly, if we weren't busy doing an interview, probably should have reloaded BE here at the VWAP. Probably could have got a second trade off there. Tiffany saying, looks like Target was getting a little support. Thank you. You're much welcome, or you're very welcome. That didn't make that English, please. Anyway, Target does look like it did find some support here. So we had that initial move down from the binary event. That support looks like it's holding. We'll check in on this a little bit later. I would be concerned if the volume was really kind of picking up or if that selling pressure was not abating at all. That doesn't seem to be the case. So you might be onto something here. You might be at a support level here for Target. Okay. See what you guys are looking at. You guys are still looking at BNED. Diddy has a new line of hotel towels. I'm not even going to touch that, Sydney, but LOL. SPWR getting a mention from the Crow. SPWR actually looks like we might be going for that 340 pre-market high area. What are we? Oh, you know what? Was that in the regular session? Yeah, that might have been right out of the gate here. 355, your intraday high there. SunPower, SPWR. Yeah, stay focused. You're mentioning Bloom Energy. This has probably been the best trader of the day. As you can see, I was basically just scalping this on a break out of its flag formation right out of the open here. It ended up moving much higher. Like Bloom Energy here, also like that this is part of the AI data center theme that we've kind of addressed. I know we definitely are going to have like a power issue. You even heard that from Tim. We're definitely going to have a power issue here. Maybe Bloom Energy is part of that. I like this name, honestly. I like this name. I've had some pretty good success on some of the shorter term trades with this one as well.
It's getting really close to making new intraday highs.
And so stay focused here was mentioning nice print action long and short. So here we go, coming up to this 1726 level. If we get rejected here, maybe you have another potential short down to the VWAP at 660. It gives you about 80 cents there if it ends up following that. We'll see here if this breaks it or not.
Yeah, I still think that it's going to have to cool off. It's going to have to come in. The daily RSI is just really extended right now. So and it would be healthy for it to do that. If we get a pullback here, maybe down to it at the earliest, we could probably think about maybe adding some around 1550. But I think that it will go lower. And if it does,
sorry,
no, go ahead.
CVAC continuing to move here. We talked about this one. This one actually going higher here. I did notice that ENPH also appeared on my scanner. Look at the solar names here today, folks. ENPH, another rip, dip to VWAP, and rip again. This would have been a really good trade.
With CureVac, what could happen here is that there is a gap to fill that I see from back in December of last year. That is from about, we'll call it 467 to 573. So about $1 gap there. And that goes right up through the 200-day SMA on CVAC. So there might be a gap fill trade there, but I think because of how extended it is, like BE, testing that 200-day SMA might cause a pullback as well. Hydrogen stocks moving too, huh? Yeah, I thought I saw our old friend Nicola up on there today.
Oh no! And just to be clear, we're talking NKLA, not Nicholas
Yeah.
from our chat, who's much nicer than this
No.
company. NKLA here.
No,
This is actually flat.
Nicholas from our chat has no fraud like this company does.
I was gonna say.
All right.
Yeah,
so,
this to me not a trader. We've actually had a guy in happy hour that has been really sharp, just kind of trading Nikola. It's been able to time both the entry and the exit. And look, it's impressive, but this is not a stock that I feel comfortable saying, yes, this would make a good trader. I don't know. One's got some red flags, as the kids say these days.
I like how Wisdom's only moves today are tickers at $420. That's how you know. That's how you know it's destiny.
BNAD, by the way, looks like that just resumed. BNAD did resume off that downside halt, actually reclaim the VWAP here. This thing, absolute bonkers. This all over the place. Glad I'm not trading this one, to be quite honest with you.
So Purgatory Park, it's great that you brought that up, because that was a little bit of a, I guess we'll call it an elevated discussion yesterday in happy hour. It was, what do we trade? What do we do after Nvidia earnings? And we're not talking about which side of the trade it goes on, but what do we do if it beats and it runs, and what do we do if it doesn't and it sells off? And there was a good number of different opinions, but I think it all kind of came down to, it might start to be a good idea to just nibble away at the short positions, the short ETFs, being as how extended it is. So that could be a strategy you could put in. Ryan, what do you think? I mean, what was some of the things you were getting from that conversation we had, the takeaways?
As far as a particular name, or just in general?
No, as far as what happens with Nvidia, what do we trade off of Nvidia earnings if they beat, and what do we trade if they don't beat and they sell off?
So this was probably one of the best discussions that we had on happy hour yesterday. Yep. I gotta think that if we beat, all right, and I let me actually rephrase that. Let me talk about what the stock actually does, right? So let's say Nvidia starts to trade up after earnings. I think that's going to carry a lot of these names, as well as the SPY, along with it. But I think that that kind of sets up the potential for a big time pullback. So if Nvidia beats, I think you're going to see peers like Micron, AMD, and then ETFs that track some of this stuff like SOXL. You might see ARM move higher. You're going to get kind of a tidal move in the market, and I think that you're going to be able to trade that. But I would not be surprised if that is terribly short-lived. Maybe the runway will be a little bit longer for Nvidia because it's them reporting the earnings, but I wouldn't be shocked if that move kind of reversed. Now, on the other side of that, if Nvidia really sells off, I feel like that could really kind of crack everything around it and might bring a lot of things in. And I think if we get that type of move could potentially last longer than an upside move, because one of the things that we're thinking that we've been talking about here, if we got a consumer weakening, who's left to buy some of these really big stocks like Nvidia? Just not sure how long that move sets up for. Is that the answer that you were looking for?
I just was looking for your thoughts on what would happen. I mean, as far as I am concerned, I think I'm kind of right there along with you. If we do have a beat, it's going to make the entire market just super overextended, and I'd be looking for some short ideas. Whether it be buying some of these leverage ETFs, or I'm not sure if I'm just going to directly short, or maybe even I try options. There's going to be a number of ways to do it. And
just to be clear, it's not like, right, the same day, right? Like prints out, Nvidia's ripping. Okay, it's time to. Now, I'm not trying to like jump in front of a momentum train to the upside and try shorting it. That's not what I'm just saying. I think that move is going to peter out somewhat quickly. I'll say it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'll say it.
There's also the possibility of some massive profit taking too, because this whole run that we've had really kind of started about a year ago, the earnings a year ago, and that's when we started really getting this movement. So I would think that there are some investors that wanted to take advantage of those long-term 1-year gains. They would be starting to sell, after we have these current earnings, because the earnings from last year were at a later date. They were on the 22nd. I think it was like 24th or 6th or something like that. So they might be selling closer to the end of the month. So that's kind of something I'm anticipating might happen. We might see some big profit taking, given how much this company is run. I think it was something like it's gone up 3 times the stock price since last year. That report in last May.
Yeah, that was an amazing stat. That was an amazing stat that you gave yesterday. So just gives you an idea of how long that can run for. Real quick here, I know that there was a very quick discussion here about Plug Power. Stay focused saying 13. What do you think about Plug Power? 13, you said that it's squeezing here. I'll say this, Plug Power, no matter what you think of the company, hydrogen fuel as a potential future source of energy, this stock has been a great trading stock for a number of years. I feel like I used to trade this back in 2014, 2015, when I was kind of messing around with some of these smaller stocks. It's always really kind of provided some good moves. It's always been liquid. It seems to be in the news quite a bit here. As far as like the long-term hydrogen thing, we've had discussions about that too. That seems to be better suited for industrial applications. I don't know what the ramp or timeline looks like in order to get that to the mass market here. I do like Plug though, not a buy and hold. I'm in and out of this one quite a bit.
So on the hydrogen theme for fuel cell vehicles, that's, to me, I think that's going to be more of a commercial enterprise to start with, and eventually it might trickle down into the consumer vehicles, but for a while I think this is just going to be a commercial enterprise. So I just don't see there a lot of fuel cell vehicles being made for the average consumer, especially when the infrastructure isn't quite built out where it needs to be yet. But it might take some pressure off the electrical grid if they did build it out sooner than later. Anyway,
NVAX also getting mentioned here. NVAX looking like that's moving towards the top. Perhaps we pop the top off of NVAX here today. Tell you what, I'm going to actually go to the Benzinga chart, which is just the daily chart, which is just a little bit easier to see.
One thing that I saw is semi-trucks instead of semiconductors. One thing that I saw was being asked, Wisdom saying, Ryan or 13, thoughts on Oracle. That could be, Oracle could be a low-key data center play that is not getting enough attention. They're a very big company. They're a very good company. And a lot of the attention has been pulled away from them in lieu of these companies that are actually gobbling up all these AI chips. So I think it does, it's worth taking a look at Oracle very closely to see how they're faring with their, in the data center space, because I think they are a very strong data center play.
And they're actually at a really interesting spot on the chart. Let me show you that here in a sec. NVAX here, this is one that we were just talking. I love this daily formation, right? We're really kind of just consolidating off the bottom. We've got a lot of really kind of compressed moving average lines. And then bang, something happens here. We run up to the 500-day moving average. We test that several days in a row. Bang, now we've broken through it. Let's see if we can get a couple of closes above this moving average. And I think the trend or the overall direction here on ticker NVAX may have changed. Let's go over and take a look at ORCL. That is going to be Oracle's ticker. We'll take a look at their daily chart. Oracle at a key spot here, in my opinion. I talk a lot about islands and stuff like that. This one, not the strongest. Again, we do have price action to the left. We would much rather have seen this break into a higher region, possibly above 130. It didn't. So if we take a look at what happened here, we really kind of came down to the bottom end of the range, did set some new highs, but were unable, really put in a kind of a nasty topping candle the day that we did that. This now has really kind of come back into its 200-day, and the recent move has been quite strong here, but look where it took us. Took us right to the bottom of that island. So this 124, 125 area, this is going to be a key level for me. For Oracle to move higher here, we're going to need to get above that, have several closes above that, and then we're going to have to do something at 130. So we're at a pretty key level here for Oracle. Definitely worth watching. Again, if I think I think that if it takes some of these levels out, as 13 mentioned, this is actually kind of a stealth data center AI play in here. This could move higher. Let's see what the performance on Oracle is.
I would like to see this price retest the 50-day SMA as support and move up from there. I think
So you'd want a 121 test before a move back up.
Yeah, because when you look at the price action, yes, we got that bounce off the 200, and then we moved up through the 20. And after we kind of consolidated on that for about a week or so, we had a breakout that took us from the 20 all the way up through the 50, and we've been hanging out above there ever since. Now, I want to see the 50 be retested as support. If we get that support test and it moves up off of the 50 from that, I think that would be a very bullish technical move, and we could end up going
I'm with you there. I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that. So, look, Oracle, I like this. I like this company. We've talked about this. I don't own this frequently enough. Honestly, I don't own this enough. Oracle is the data center of choice for X. I'll tell you what, stay focused. That tells me this ain't really going anywhere anytime soon. Huh? That's what that tells me. All right, let's take a look, see if we can find any other trades here. I will say the stuff that's been kind of moving around here dried up a little bit. I think BCG, that's kind of a new ticker we really haven't looked at a whole lot here today, that is making its way on there. I don't know. This seems a little thin and sus, as they say. FREY new highs here. That's really kind of been running here today. SunPower right back at the highs. That looking good here. Woof, making a lot of you adults make animal sounds at your desk like I just did. That higher here.
Do we have a bark ticker yet?
We do actually.
Bark Incorporated.
Yeah, this is Bark Incorporated, but it's not barking here today. It's not doing much of anything.
And rough is one too, but oh wow, that's bad. Alpha Dog ETF is looking rough. Even though the daily chart looks like it's trying to break out.
So we were just talking about penny stocks, right? We were just talking about penny stocks and what they often do and all of that. Remember when we had the crazy move in FFIE, there were a bunch of other penny stocks that really tried to move in sympathy or put in similar moves shortly after it. Kraken was one of them. We had a number of traders trading Kraken in here. Look at where it is now. Even with the move here today, we're at 18 cents. This thing printed 60 cents. And the point that I want to make here is that when look at these percentage gains, when you have some of these stocks, penny stocks or otherwise, that make gigantic percentage moves, it is always going to be in your best interest to lighten some of your position. Book gains on those moves. I know when you watch a stock go from 5 cents to $5, you think, oh, I want to hit the next one. Those are few and far between. If you get one of those events to start making other stocks trade like that, trade them and book your gains. This thing has pretty much round tripped all the way back down to 10 cents.
You reminded me of, I'm thinking if it was 21 or 22 when we were seeing this happen. But do you remember when we had, and they might still be companies out there, we had a number of tickers that were, based off body parts. You had eyes, you had FNGR, finger.
Yes.
And every time one of those would run, all the other body part named stocks, even though they had no relation to each other, would also move. That was hilarious.
I do remember that. Eyes, not one of the tickers here. Here's FNGR. Ears was one of those, wasn't it? I don't have a ticker for that here in Trade the Pool. Yeah. Oh man, that is a funny mention, 13. I do remember that.
So, I was going to just point that out because some of these, sometimes they don't have any relationship. They just, other than they are, similar tickers.
Man, oh man, that actually looks like that was bought out 7/26/21 on the ears. How about that?
Even Stellantis got people mixed up with Tesla because the ticker's so close. STLA, TSLA.
Yeah.
People mixed that up a whole bunch when that first came out, and they thought they were trading Tesla.
How about Tesla's TSLA? How about TLSA? Tanzania Life Sciences. This is the Tesla doppelganger here. Quite a difference in the price there.
Zoltan mentioning ENVX as well, short squeeze candidate. Let me take a look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's bring that up on screen here. That is moving higher here. Wisdom saying, we love you, Ryan. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. Namaste, bro. Is
What's
body
the-
parts a sector? No, not yet. That is not part of the GIC system. But that's funny.
I'm not seeing much news regarding the what's going on with ENVX. Maybe, Zoltan, if you're in happy hour later, we can talk about what this is about here. Was saying that Agri going to run at some point today.
Real quickly here on ENVX, 36.35% of its float shorted in 8 days to cover. So it's got the short interest that could really make for one of these squeeze candidates here. Daily chart actually looks pretty good too. I really think, I know we just kind of broke above this. Maybe if we get above this 11, maybe this could start that. We'll see. CEO had a conference call earlier. I wonder what the content of that call was.
Let's see, where was that? WIS, when you mentioned Agri, is this kind of off of AGFY, their movement yesterday? I thought they had some kind of news catalyst. Oh, they had earnings. So is this kind of like in relation to that? Also with kind of the cannabis industry getting the news it's been getting lately with potential rescheduling of the drug? Help me out, my man.
Tan here, big move. This is on the backs of the solar moves. We've talked about that one quite a bit. NVAX continuing to go through highs here. This is a vaccine stock. Pfizer looks like that's at the highs here on the same day. I was Moderna, MDNA, is it MDR, MNRA? That's what it is. mRNA, excuse me. We'll figure it out there eventually. Moderna also at the highs here, so the VAX stock's higher here today.
Oh, wow. Starbucks is having a really big move today.
Did that ever break 70 to the downs? No, it sure didn't. Man, oh man. That went right to its 20-day, didn't it? Don't I have the 20-day there at about 79.5?
I think it went
79.15 on the 20-day. Okay.
Yeah, it actually just broke through it today. And it continues to fill that gap. That gap gets filled at 87.18. Still a ways away. What's been the news lately with this one? Maybe oversold. All the headwinds priced in. Maybe. NEP has made your day, DW. Hell yeah, brother.
This Moderna's up like 100% since the beginning of this year. All right, what ticker was it that you were looking at?
Oh, I was looking at a couple. I was looking at SBucks and NEP, and now I'm moving on to Boyle to see what's going on with natural gas. It's just moving on. What? I still think that we were getting some really good discussion with natural gas earlier in the year and how it's going to probably be a much better play in the second half of the year in 2025.
Bonjour, Smoke Tuna. You are joining us a little bit later in the day here. Hope all is well on the tuna front. Hope all is well.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing a whole. I mean, a CLSK has just put in a new high. That's a Bitcoin name. We're starting to see Bitcoin try to retake 70K again. It's been rejected this morning. It looks like several times from that level. So maybe this is the level. This is the move that gets it over 70K and stays there.
Max N here. This actually might be a potential breakout here on Max N.
Jay Rice, he might have a hard time roaring if he's got worms eating his brain.
Yeah, the jokes with the brain worm. That I don't know if that'll ever end here. And yeah, this is more of a snoring kitty, it seems.
No, that's office assistant in his bed.
He's not here. I don't know where he is. where he
CLSK
went.
still pushing new highs intraday.
We should have asked him about Boyle being a widowmaker. Just from knowing Tim's trading thesis and then listening to him attack this thesis here today, there is no way he is going to trade a leveraged asset that degrades like Boyle. I don't like speaking for other adults, but I am fairly certain that would not be one of the holds that he has there. That levered ETF that just deteriorates.
Well, I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but I believe I heard him say that he's more of the kind of like the longer term investor, not so much the day trader.
Yep.
Okay.
And that is a day trading asset, is it not, 13? Boyle?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
So Disney has some news. They said to agree to
Really?
sell 30% of Tata Play stake to Tata Group. The value is supposed to be about $1 billion. And they're also laying off their Pixar workforce amid restructuring. So,
Jay, good mention here. If you're going to play the natural gas that we just talked about, and you're not going to trade it using those levered ETFs, UNG a better way to do that. That's a good mention.
We talked about this one too.
SPWR ripping to highs here now.
Wasn't this the one that some folks in Happy Hour were trading?
SPWR?
UNG.
Oh, UNG. Oh, yeah. I think Kari from our Happy Hour program follows UNG quite a bit, actually. Edith, the gene editors putting in nice moves here. Edith, this is nice. What about some of those other ones? CRISPR, right? CSPR. Am I messing that up? CRISPR here, CRSP. There we go. CRISPR also having another move. So the gene editor's looking pretty good here. How about, what was it, NTLA? Was that another one here? Intellia Therapeutics, another gene editor moving towards the highs. What's going on here with that Edith move? Just gave you 3 that are related, all having the same type of move. Thinking about it, says Tim was a great guest. I took all 3 of his plays. He knows his stuff. You just made for a brighter future thinking about it. That's really good. Really, really good stuff there.
ZYME has a nice day. Let's take a look.
ZYME, you said?
Yes.
Perfect.
Zyme time.
Zyme time. I like it. Hey, anytime you can give these stocks pet names and have fun with it, that's where it's at. I'm with you there.
I don't know what this company does. It looks like it really wants to make a move over the 50-day SMA, though. It's been kind of harassing that for the past week. Got about 8% short interest and 7.75 days to cover. Sorry. What else can I draw from this? 62 million shares in the float. No splits. They do a lot of offerings. They just had one on the 2nd of this month earlier. So what is their problem? Why do they need to keep making offerings? Oh, it's because they're losing tens of millions of dollars every quarter.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it. ERSH getting mentioned here by KB. That is the penny stock du jour.
Brush.
ERSH, brush. It's just a penny stock, though. Maxon Solar, this also higher on the backs of those solar moves that we just talked about.
CLSK has just been, on a tear since it was brought up to us, and that's also in part because Bitcoin moved over 70K, so it's been helping that along. So likely all the other Bitcoin names are having a good day as well. Let's see, Riot looking good, MSTR pretty good, Mara pretty good. So they're doing good.
NXT continuing. We talked about that. I think this was a Sally call right out of the morning. NXT, this moved up and is continuing to take the next leg higher here. NXT 50.34. I've got the 100-day moving average at 50.44. This potential breakout here, NXT.
Well, let's see if we can find something that's hasn't broken out yet. Getting ready to. None of these names from this morning are looking really that good at all.
Nope. That has done its thing.
So time to go into some more of these stronger names, it looks like.
Yeah, and you know what? The move that seems to be carrying on here has been that move in solar. All of those stocks seem to be holding up here.
Yeah, a lot of these are squeezing. UBS maintains buy on first solar, raises price record at 270. Got about $35 up to go in there, so maybe that's what we end up seeing. Okay.
Just taking another really kind of cursory look here at the scanner before we make way for Zunaid and Futures Fever. BuzzFeed holding lower here. Wolf just really kind of sitting at its VWAP fray. This was a battery play that really moved earlier. That seems like it's kind of slowed down, but holding its gains so far. SYTA. ZLT, that was another one from earlier. That, man, what a disappointment that was. That just moved lower and lower and lower. Still seeing Moderna calls getting bought, Synopsis calls getting bought. That's really cheap though. It's really, really small.
Sorry, I'm just looking to see.
You're good.
Taking a look at something here. Okay, that's not helping me. Sorry, just trying to do some research on the fly here. Let me go back to this. It looks like MSTR had a bit of a breakout.
Yeah, I saw MSTR calls being listed there in the scanner, but couldn't really make anything of it. Not a data point that I was going to trade off of.
Okay.
Dinero mentioning Apple Red. That is pulling here. This kind of just looks like trading action, right? Though I didn't see any news on this.
Well,
let me just confirm that real quick.
Let's take a look at the Mag 7s and see what the rotation is looking like. So,
yeah,
Tesla. I mean, we had a big move in Tesla yesterday, right?
Yep.
So now
that's higher here today.
So now that one's come in. Meta's higher, yeah. Apple was slightly up, now it's slightly down. So just a little bit of rotation. I bet interesting that Nvidia's down. I guess that faith is kind of waning that they'll be continue to go up. But
yeah,
not by much.
I mean, the other thing I could think, if I'm in Nvidia from that period that you discussed when like just a year ago when stock was $300, I mean, going into this print, I'm thinking probably want to sell some of that, don't I? Probably want to lock some of that in. I mean, 300% in a year's time. Those are pretty good returns. You're smoking the S&P at that point.
I would think so.
So look, I got no line on the Nvidia earnings. I definitely am going to pay attention to it and see what it does. That's going to affect a lot of stuff. We talked about some of the ETFs that's going to affect. Stick around, though, for Futures Fever here with Zunaid. We should be joined by him any moment now. This has actually been a pretty good day, 13.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
The morning was great. And then it just slowed down, and we just started talking about things that might be good for later.
One for one in the prop account here today, so I'll take that. I know it's a little bit slower than normal, but that's all right. And I'm going to be looking at rebalancing my main portfolio. One thing to mention here real quick, INOD had a pretty good daily break on the chart here today. Looks like we popped 13 there. Hey, there's Zunaid.
What's up?
He was patiently waiting for you.
Yeah, you just kind of slid in the back door there.
Just a little bit. And I know you kind of mentioned Nvidia. So I do want, we have a special show at 3:30. So here's what I need for the folks in the chat, right? We have a 3:30 earnings call that we're going to have. Now you're probably thinking, whoa, buddy, earnings don't come out till after the market close. Well, that's right. But we have Scott from T3 Trading that's going to be joining us at 3:30 with me, and we're going to talk about any trades that we are kind of looking to take for Nvidia, any trades we have taken, any setups that we want to take next week as well. So the link is in the chat. Highly recommend you click on it. You know, whatever notifications, whatever button there is, pull out your phone right now, set an alarm for 2:39 p.m. Eastern, and come join us. It should be a fun show. Expecting some good quality trades and insights from that as well from Scott.
Okay. Awesome stuff there. What time does it end?
So we're going to start the show at 3:30. We're going to go till 4 o'clock till Scott. Then you'll get to hang out with me for about 15 minutes. Then we actually have two analysts that are going to come on and talk about Nvidia, whether it's to the upside, downside. So the report comes out and we get to talk about it and see what the movement is like and what the future of it holds. And then, of course, we have the earnings call at 5. So to answer your question, we're going from 3:30 jam-packed day all the way till about 6, aka till the earnings themselves end.
All right. Good stuff with that, Zunaid. Can't wait to see what Nvidia does. I think a lot of what we trade tomorrow is going to be dependent upon this print. So really good stuff. That does it for 13 and I here. 13. See you on happy hour, and we'll see all of you folks here tomorrow.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get some futures. Let's talk about some futures. And of course, look, on this show, we talk about futures. We talk about stocks, options, all that stuff, right? So this is kind of like your all-around inclusive trading show that we carry over from the great job that Ryan and 13 do. So let's go ahead and kind of get things moving. Now, if you're not familiar with Apex, Apex is a prop firm where you go ahead and get a chance to pass an eval. And once you go ahead and pass it, which by the way, they've got 90% off, or if you'd like to help us out, you can go ahead and use the promo code FEVER. That is FEVER. I almost forgot how to spell fever. And you know, you got your prices and things like that. Maybe you don't want you. There you go. I didn't want you guys to see my credit card info because I do use them in my own personal funds. This is what I have, not the Rhythmic. I have the $50,000 one here. Matter of fact, I'll show you my trading stuff here in a moment. So here we go. I have two funded accounts, which you can see on one of them. So 50,000 is how you start your funded account. I'm up $2,000 at the moment in one of them, and the other one I'm up about $1,000. And all of these have been passed. Having a full-time job kind of makes it a little bit tougher to trade for me sometimes, especially when the market's open. That's when I, got to get on my grind. But as you can see, all of these are passed. I just need to get them converted and funded. And like I told the chat, my plan is to have 10 at least copy traded accounts ready to go. And I am right there. So as long as I don't do anything crazy, we should be good. All right, let's see what we've got in this part of the world. So here's what I kind of traded yesterday, was just waiting for this chop to kind of break out. Unfortunately, I did miss here. Was it 15-minute where the breakout happened? Yeah, the 15-minute here, I did miss it right towards the close. But you can see we came back right around that 18,760 area to go ahead and move to the upside. Now we've got a little bit of consolidation happening. But to me, I mean, this was a great chance for you to take a long on this support area. Again, this isn't something that I drew after the fact. I drew this yesterday because you could see of the resistance that was there. And of course, it went ahead and held here today as well. Let me know what stocks you guys want me to take a look at. We can take a look at Nvidia as well. I'm going to see what Scott has to say when I join him at 3:30. But I'm kind of digging some puts, y'all. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm kind of digging some puts. But that's also because of that foolish mentality of, oh, it's gone up so much. The expectations are so high. If it doesn't go spectacular, it's got to crash. Many have been bankrupt with that policy. But let's see if we can find some trades. Let's go take a look at the ES as well. I know you had some Fed speakers as well, so it wasn't anyone too major, but I know they were talking. So here's what we'll do. We'll kind of set an alert here, because we don't want to just force a trade just for the sake of forcing a trade because we're on air, right? We want to be smart, methodical with our trading. So we're going to see which way this wants to break. And we might go ahead and take a trade on this one to the upside or downside. Just depends on which way it wants to go. AMD. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at AMD since someone in the chat has asked for it. And I typed in, okay, all right. The S is near the A. Don't get anything, don't get any crazy ideas. All right. Matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do. I should play some low. Okay. All right, AMD. So we actually talked about this with Sandy on Friday's options show. 171.95, call it 172. Why don't you? Is kind of what we're waiting for, right? So I can kind of set an alert here. Till then, I'm not really doing much. But we do have Nvidia that's going to go in and report earnings tonight. So that absolutely is going to have some type of movement on AMD. So for me, no real trade here. You got to wait for the pop, in my opinion. If it does pop on the earnings of Nvidia and it comes down to test it, that's where I'd be interested in that 172 area. But till then, this is not going to be something that I'm kind of looking at. Coming back here, making sure our trade doesn't leave without us. I kind of just wanted to get in because it's right above VWAP. But what do you think, chat? Should we? I think I'm okay with it. What do I want to do here? Let's see, but this ends up being resistant for so much. Oh, and it's got the previous close. As I speak, it goes higher, but I don't know. Just a little concerned with this. It's holding on. It did hold on to support. I expect that support to end up being resistance, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. All right, two people are talking about coin, so we'll just kind of take a look at what's happening in coin. Oh, I thought something crazy was happening. You have Bitcoin that's at 70,000 plus. Coinbase, again, holding that 220 support area, just like it did yesterday as well. To me, it's this area here for resistance. And that right there. So if we go ahead and break this 230, I'd be interested on the 15-minute to possibly go ahead and get into this one. But till then, I would kind of hold off for me personally. Take a look at Tesla. Had a nice day yesterday, right? I think it was like 5% or so. Yeah, there it is. Had like 5% or so. And what do you know? Sometimes if you look left, you'll know exactly where resistance may come up. So there you go. I mean, you've got the 188, call it that you got to go ahead and break through. Now, you should have this 180 hold. So if you wanted to get long here, do you want it to risk $2? I think you possibly can. 181.50s, and then maybe on the downside, you can go ahead and get out. So I would say, hey, I'm risking $2 if I'm wrong. If I'm right, I want to get at least to 184 and then possibly 187. Now, you've got Hood, by the way, that is at $20, which I really like. And look at that, $20 level held. So if you're in Hood and you like it, I would go ahead and get in at 20, maybe have, ooh, we are breaking out, maybe. All right. I knew I should have gotten in. That's not bad. But let's see. Plenty of time left for this candle to close. So we'll see how it behaves. Do I trade Bitcoin? I don't. I invest in shitcoins. And I can't believe I just said the word invest and then say what I said after that. But I'll just take a look at trends and what's kind of popping, right? So full disclosure, I think what is it? Zach, the coin there. I am invested in that. Let's see actually how that investment's doing. And yes, I'm going to call it an investment. Oh, look at that. We're up, we're up a couple grand. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we're up about $2,000 or so on it. So I'm happy. And so I have it in this wallet, and then I have some in another wallet as well, just in case one of you at home asks me. So to answer your question, I trade it every now and then. Like I have accounts, but I trade stocks and options, right? So I don't have enough funds to put money everywhere to where I want to make an impact. If I was trading crypto, whether it's ETH, whether it's Bitcoin, I'd want to have at least 50 grand. And, my other brokers have that money at the moment because I have funds in TradeStation and also Thinkorswim Trade. All right, let's see. See, this is why we didn't want to get in the trade too soon. We want to wait and see how this candle reacts on the ES side. Okay, this next sound is called feeding the ducks. Sure, if that's what feeding the ducks sounds like, why not? I used to, right? So if you're talking about like the SPY and QQQs, I used to a lot when I was actually on live trading on a regular basis. I used to quite a bit. But now, thanks to Apex, I trade futures. And I genuinely mean that. And by the way, I had one of our viewers emailed me asking me about my genuine opinion on Apex and a couple of other shows and different things like that we do. You're always welcome here in the chat to ask me any questions that you want, because anything that I can say in private, I will say to you here in a public open forum. So please, 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 if you have any questions about Apex, if you're worried, if you're concerned or whatever, right? Like we can have an honest conversation about it here. What are you gonna do? See, this spot would have been the perfect spot to buy, but it never really got there though. This is a great question. So I'm looking forward to, I need to get this over. Sorry, hold on. I need to get this over 5,300, right? So I need about another $1,000 or so so that I can go ahead and take some money out. So I haven't yet, but I plan on end of May, right? So call it the first couple of days of June. I plan on withdrawing from Apex, but I do know people that have, and I'm talking about not just FinTwit folks, but folks that I've seen verifications of and, you know, different things like that as well. So I need to get that up, and I need to make about another $2,000 on this account. As soon as I do, trust me, I will be very, very happy, because I spend my own money to kind of go through the evals process, and at 100% of the times I pay for the funded account itself, right? So I pay $165 as a one-time fee for the account. Yeah, I kind of already answered this, but I kept busting accounts. I was, you know, I think when you have something like Apex, which again is in the middle of paper money and real money, in my opinion, this is my opinion only, not Benzinga's or anybody else's, you kind of get in the mentality of like, oh, I only spent $200 to get I only spent $200 to get $2,500 worth of drawdown. I'll just go crazy with it. I'll go ahead some home runs. Unfortunately, when you try to, you know, score inside the park home runs, you get called out a lot of times. So I have busted a lot of accounts. And so now I just kind of hit singles, right? So whenever I get a chance to trade here live with you guys, I'll go ahead and hop on, and I'll just try to make about $200-300 every time I'm on. As you see us making new highs. I think this is all-time highs now as well, right? Yeah. All-time highs on the NQ. Stonks only go up. What's going on, Easy Mike? Kind of scared to take this trade, I'm not gonna lie to you. Boy, AT just sent me an invite. He just loves to talk to me. I know he does. Always sending me these calendar invites. I should just put him on camera right now. I should just hit the button. He's not listening to me. He doesn't have his headphones in. Do you said you have 8 to 10 accounts? Do you pay for each the monthly fee or just one for all of them? So I don't. So correct me if I'm wrong, but like my understanding and what I've gone through the process, because I've had Apex for some time now, is you can pay about $100. So on a $50,000 account, that's what I've experienced with. You can pay $50 a month. Or excuse me, you can pay $100 a month when you are funded, or you can pay $165 for the lifetime of that specific account. So if you don't blow that account and you have it for 8 months, 9 months, 10 years, whatever, right? Then you're good. Then you can go ahead and continue using the account. You don't have to pay anything else. So I pay for each of the accounts that you see that are funded here, right? So for this one and this one, where you see PA, I paid $165 lifetime for that specific account. For the rest of these, I will do the same exact thing. So I will pay 165, 165, 165, 165, 165. So I paid 160. I will pay 165 plus the eval of $40. So for $200 after I pass the eval, you get access to $2,500 worth of drawdown. And I don't like when people say, "Oh, you get a $50,000 account." Well, yeah, sure, that's cute, but it's $2,500 worth of drawdown that you're actually getting. So I want to be very clear of that. Don't look at it as a $50,000 account for $200. Look at it as a $2,500 drawdown that's available to you for $200 if you go ahead and pass the eval and pay for the funded lifetime access of it. Let's take a look at some crude oil action here. Let's see here. I'm thinking it here. I'm thinking about taking AMD 180 calls while we wait for our trades. Let's go ahead and take a look at AMD. All right, you're thinking about taking AMD calls at about $65 for the week. So it's trading at 0.65 to play Nvidia earnings. You've already gone out of your SMH and we are into after earnings. Let's take a look. If you're trying to play if you're trying to play 180 calls. Yeah. I mean, then you're expecting, you know, for you to break even, if you're paying 60 cents, so you're expecting about, call it a 8% move off of some other company's earnings. When they reported earnings right here, they fell about what? About 6%. So I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it, in my opinion. Right? Again, this is me, since you asked me. I would love to maybe go ahead, if you're thinking long side, and if you're risking $65, I would say maybe if you want to, buy the 170 and sell the 175 or something like that, right? Make it a spread. So that way, yes, you're limiting your gains, no question. However, you're also not spending as much, is my opinion on it. But in general, though, I'm not the biggest fan of YOLOing options anymore on earnings. Although I have thought about a show where I put up $5 grand and I just YOLO. Maybe we'll do that for Q3. But like, I also like, you know, I want it to be a fun show where I'm risking money that I'm okay losing, but I don't want anyone else to be using their hard-earned money that isn't their disposable income, you know? All right, let's check back here. Kind of want it. I want to get into a trade, but not for the sake of just getting into a trade. That's the tough part. All right, so I'd rather be patient, but I am eager to get into a trade here. Let me actually take a look at I apologize. I'm responding to an email here while we wait. That would be sick. Turn 5K to 100K. Honestly, man, there is one company that we reached out to about the idea, but we don't know if they'll take us up on it. But yeah, I kind of like it. You know, it's like, hey, and these wouldn't just be like, oh, let's just kind of throw money at this one. It's like, no, these would be well thought out trades. And of course, I'm no Billy Walters, which I know is on the sports betting side, not on the stock side. But like, you know, this would be a fun thing for us to do. And yeah. Futures are too expensive for me. I mean, look, I'm not saying this just because they're sponsoring the show. I'm saying it because I put my hard-earned money into it as well. Give Apex a shot. But if you're just starting to learn how to trade futures, make sure you have the knowledge and the fundamental concepts, and then go ahead and try to trade with some of their smaller account sizes, right? So maybe you can spend 20, 30 bucks to get a eval, and you can kind of get into the nicks of trading. And then once you get good at it, maybe in 3, 4, 6 months, whatever it might be, you'll be good to go. So I think having Apex, a prop firm account, is kind of right in the middle of that. What do I think about the possibility of FOMC minutes to tell something new? So here's the one thing about me, and I'm not going to answer your question, not because I'm a jerk, but just because I don't have a fundamental understanding of the impacts of like the Fed minutes and, you know, the rising rates and things like that. Like, yes, I have a surface level understanding, don't get me wrong, but like in terms of how it can impact short-term, medium-term, long-term, I don't have the energy to focus on that, right? I just strictly look at the chart. So I wait for the news to come out. Then when I feel like the news has been digested, I take a look at the chart and then go ahead and decide what I want to do. So to answer your question, I've got no clue if he's going to say something new or if he's going to tell us that he has a new wife. Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen in the FOMC minutes ever, to the point where I would actually end up going to work out at like 2:30 before I was full-time here, just so I can work out. And by the time the market's digested everything, by 3 o'clock, I'm showered, focused, and then I would start trading. All right, let's see where this is. I think someone else had a question before I go ahead and go off here. Major difference in trading stocks, indexes, and futures, also based on momentum, trend, indicators. Cheers. Great question. To me, they're all similar in terms of how you want to manage your risk, right? Of course, they have different. By the way, for folks who didn't know, when you trade the SPX, when you trade the futures, you have different tax implications. So make sure you know that as well. It's one of the reasons I prefer trading futures over stocks, and why I prefer trading the SPX over the SPY, especially if your account size is able to navigate those risks in life. But to me, I'm using the same philosophies in terms of my VWAP, trend lines, consolidations, and risk management. It's kind of that simple for me. It's nothing too crazy. So to me, they're all similar. The only thing I cannot attest to is Forex. I've never traded Forex. I've thought about getting into it, but yeah. All right, in just a couple of moments, we'll have our all-access interview started. Again, we've got a double header. We're going to go ahead and start off with Dr. Jordan Plews. We've had him on for the healthcare summit a couple of months ago, and that was some great conversation. So it should be fun here today as well. And that'll be in about a couple of minutes while we get set up in the back. And see, this is exactly why. So here's the thing. I'm not the biggest fan of sometimes not taking a trade when I'm on air, just because this is a trading show, right? We trade and then we talk to executives to wrap things up. But I don't want to force a trade because that's still my money at work. And I don't want to just force it. So here's why I didn't want to take it. We didn't get a clean breakout of this consolidation. I was afraid that it might go ahead and come right back. Now, this could be a great buying opportunity, right? If you wanted to, you can have your stop loss set right here. But to me, it's still kind of in this range. I've got some things to do here, so I'm not going to take this trade. But I hope you guys understand that FOMO is one of the reasons that you'll risk your money, or you'll end up losing your money. So kind of you have to be smart, methodical. The market's going to be here. No matter what's happening in the world, the markets will open up. Matter of fact, I think there's a rule that the market can't be closed for 3 days straight or something like that. And just under a minute, we'll go ahead and get things going. But any final questions that you guys have in the chat, let me know. You guys have been active quite a bit, so I appreciate you guys asking all these questions. Which indicators do I use? I use VWAP, that's it. And that's the yellow line that you see right there. That is the only thing I use. All right. Let me go ahead and take a look at a couple of things here. And then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, AT, I am ready to go if you are, pal. All right, as I kind of mentioned to y'all, we do go ahead and have a couple of executives that are going to go ahead and come on, and we're going to go ahead and start things off with Elevai Labs. Now, we've talked to Dr. Jordan Plews in the past, right, who is, by the way, the co-founder and CEO, and the ticker on the NASDAQ is ELAB. Should be a great conversation here in just a moment while we go ahead and fix things in the background. But as always, you guys were very active yesterday with the doubleheader that we had. So if you have any questions in the chat, please let us know, and I'll do my best to go ahead and incorporate them in the conversation. But All Access starts right now. Dr. Plews, good morning. How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Glad to see you back. You know, I've been a fan of the company in terms of the conversations that we had with the products that you have, but I know you have some updates to provide us here today as well. But before we get into that, if you could give the viewers a quick idea of what is it that your company does.
Yeah, Elevai Labs is a medical aesthetics company. We're developing, acquiring, and commercializing disruptive innovations for beauty, longevity, obesity, and metabolic health.
All right, perfect. Now, your biotech division, by the way, is working on some exciting things, especially in the obesity space. If you could give me a little bit of an idea of the EL22, but also how does it work?
Yeah, so since our customers today are primarily doctors focused on aesthetic medicine, many of them are prescribing these GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro that I'm sure you've heard of. And we found that many of them shared these common pain points when it came to obesity and metabolic disorders. So, you know, people are seeing amazing weight drops, often 15% or more of their body weight with these GLP-1 drugs. But what is talked about less is that a lot of that weight is muscle. In fact, it's not uncommon for up to 40% of that weight loss to be muscle loss. So serious problem, right?
Yeah. And it's so interesting you mentioned that, because whenever people talk about it, like even for me, right? I think you and I talked about maybe last time where I've kind of gone through this weight loss journey, and yeah, I'm seeing the pounds kind of drop, and sometimes I'll see the pounds go up. However, when I get a more in-depth test done, then it shows me that, hey, your fat has kind of decreased and your muscle has grown, which is why you might be seeing the same weight, but internally things are looking better than they did, say, 2 weeks ago as well. On that note, though, how are the clinical trials progressing?
Yeah, so what we've done here is we believe the future of GLP-1s is a combination treatment that's going to mitigate this muscle loss. So you don't want to lose the muscle, you just want to lose the fat. We know our muscle is burning calories, it's got physical function attached to it, and you want to hold on to that muscle as long as possible. So we looked for assets that were really going to address this properly, and we found a engineered probiotic. It was developed in South Korea. Is designed actually for Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. And that's already been taken through preclinical and phase 1. And so we were able to obtain this, and now we're building a team around taking this forward through an FDA IND in the United States here.
And what kind of TAM is out there for this type of drug?
So the market's really responded to these GLP-1 drugs unlike anything else. The CDC says about 42% of Americans are suffering from obesity, and Goldman says this is going to be $100 billion market by 2030. So as you look around at these peers that are out there, it's a big market. I think this is going to prove to be the biggest drug of all time by a long margin.
Now, what about
GLP-1s.
what about the EL22? I know we kind of briefly mentioned on that. How is that going to work into everything here?
The EL32?
EL32, yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, so we acquired two assets effectively, 22 and 32. 22 is this engineered probiotic that has a antigen for myostatin. So it's something you take orally, your body through mucosal immunity, passive mucosal immunity is producing antibodies against myostatin. Now, one of the other main targets is called activin A. And so EL32 goes after myostatin and activin A in a single dose. So same platform technology. And what's really interesting for us is that, as you see on this graph here, this chart, there's a number of options that are intravenous or subcutaneous. We think the future ultimately is going to be oral. This is something that this technology allows.
And having it, orally taken is a lot easier as well to kind of just go ahead and handle versus any other methods of having it happen. Taking a step back away from this, I want to have this graph still up, but you announced, I believe it was like a 330% increase in revenue year over year in Q1. How in the world did you attain that?
Yeah, it's just a little over 330. We're very proud of that. This is really building on our foundation of customers that are happy, right? They're reordering again and again. And so we're able to build on that foundation and add more and more accounts. We're about making products that are built on technology that really work, that people are happy with. And because of that, they come back for more. And so we think that's the real main driver here. And of course, we're adding more products and more technology. Currently, we're getting closer and closer to launching our hair product line, which we're very excited about.
Can you dive into a little bit about that? I know there's certain things you can't speak to. I understand, but give me some insights that might already be publicly available.
Yeah, so there's not a lot I can say. We've been teasing it for a little while. We talked about it, but one of the things I would point you to is that we do try to press release everything. And one of the interesting ones you might have seen was we did a licensing agreement with a company called Yuva Bio. Yuva Bio has some great technology that was developed using AI to find a compound that helps to address mitochondrial health. And so if you're familiar with the longevity space, if you've heard of NMN, NAD, this compound is in that same kind of family. It's about mitochondrial biogenesis. It's about giving your cells more mitochondria and therefore more energy. And we feel it's a very good, perfect accompaniment to our exosome technology from our stem cell exosomes. So this was one of those things. It's a 1 + 1 = 3. And we do plan to incorporate that technology into future products.
And do we have a timeline on that that you're able to speak to, or not yet?
I can't give a timeline just yet, but it's coming soon.
I understand and I respect it. You mentioned AI, so let me kind of dive right into it. AI is such a hot buzzword, right? But how do y'all plan on having AI impact the research that is going to be conducted here?
Yeah, so most of our research is still done in the lab by highly trained people, and I don't see a robot with AI coming in and replacing people in the lab very soon. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff that we can do. Like I said, Yuva, they developed this technology by screening a lot of molecules through AI. I think we're going to see more and more of that. It's going to move from just the really big pharma companies being able to afford AI for these things to much lower level things. So we're going to keep an eye on this, of course, because we're all about leveraging the latest technology to make better products.
And now on my final question before I kind of turn it over to you, we talked about the 330% increase in revenue year over year for Q1. You've got a game plan, I assume, to kind of sustain this as well. Any final thoughts from you? Anything else that you kind of wanted to discuss that I didn't get a chance to bring up? Any topics that you wanted to have our viewers get some insights on? The floor is all yours.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I'm after this, I'm preparing to go down to UCLA. They have the LA Best Conference tomorrow. I'm going to be speaking at that alongside some really great colleagues. A lot of translational medicine stuff going on there that I think your viewers might find interesting. So really, we're trying to develop while also build out a team specifically for this bio side.
Yeah.
And so keep an eye on that. We do have, like I say, other products in the pipeline. I can't speak too much about them yet, but it's going to be a very exciting year for us because we're kind of pushing forward here on all fronts. But yeah, if there's anyone just following this GLP-1 space, I'd say look at that LA Best Conference tomorrow. That's at like say the UCLA, and keep tabs on us. Our ticker, as you have here, is ELAB. And this is something that we really feel strongly is going to be the future of GLP-1 treatments, is a combination of a GLP-1 drug and an anti-muscle wastage drug to go along with it. And we believe myostatin blockers are the way.
Awesome. Well, hey, look, I appreciate the insights, and I know there's certain things you can't speak to it, but when you do go ahead and make that information public, I'd love to have you back on so we can talk about what's happening and also how it impacts the business in the future as well. But thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, Doc.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You bet. That is Dr. Jordan Plews, who is the co-founder and CEO of Elevai Labs. Ticker is ELAB. We'll go ahead and continue the conversation with our second part of the doubleheader that we mentioned. Brian has been on with us many, many times. He had a special guest last time, but now it's going to kind of be more of a one-on-one situation. And he is the CEO of Diamond Lake Minerals. Ticker on the OTC markets is DLMI. All Access continues. Brian, how's it going?
I'm doing well, Sinead. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming back on. I know we had a great conversation last time with a special guest of yours. And for the folks that may not be familiar with the company, give us some quick insights on what is it that you do.
Absolutely, sir. So Diamond Lake Minerals, ticker, as you mentioned, DLMI. We are a multi-strategy operating company. So I like to reference us, if you remember the old school GE structure. When I took over the company as CEO in August of 2023, the new strategy and focus was parent umbrella company, multiple industry agnostic companies that we identify as we want to be in, and then build those companies as you would traditionally build companies, finance them, get them as profitable as possible, create returns and rewards for our shareholders. But the unique thing about our model and our expertise is our know-how in the security token aspect of the world and applying security tokens into these business units that would allow investors from all over the world to be able to buy into our companies.
Now, let's talk about the crypto markets, right? Because there's a lot of things happening there. You already have the halving that happened quite a bit ago, but what have you kind of noticed? Any impacts from that?
The best thing that we keep noticing are more and more financial institutions getting involved. That'll help everybody be more accessible. My biggest fear in this space for a long time has been, how do you operate in this space and be allowed to bank, for example? I mean, there was a big issue in the cannabis industry when that started rolling out across many different states. It was all these great businesses, but there was no bank that would allow them to do business. There was no credit card processing that allowed them to do business. Very similar issues in the digital asset space. Now, we are not a crypto company. We are not focused at all on crypto or NFTs or anything that is in that gray area. We are focused solely on building these companies and applying a security token aspect to the business, which is a regulated form of a digital security. So for us, the more of the interest coming into the market, the halving caused a lot of great excitement with a lot of the financial institutions that got into it, such as BlackRock and Fidelity and all these other big players, which is great to allow people to be able to buy in. The biggest issue in the past has been so much wealth of the world don't know what a digital wallet is. They don't have any idea of how to go through the process of going through a KYC. Some of them that did go through that process very easily got scammed and had their digital assets stolen because they clicked on a link that they thought was legitimate. So it's a mess. It's quite a mess. And it still is quite a mess. So it's nice to see new financial vehicles coming to market that allow people to play in the space and invest in the space. And, we're proud to be, I believe, a leader in what we're doing as far as public companies are concerned.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many individuals that unfortunately click on the wrong thing, and then folks get access to your account. Like unfortunately, no friends that have lost $50,000 in crypto assets, right? Just because of a two-factor authentication that someone had access to because they clicked on something wicked, I guess. So it's not fun at all. I want to talk about one more crypto aspect of it, and then we can kind of move on to some certain things that are going on. But you have the Bitcoin spot ETF. It's been a while since that's taken off. Now you just have, I don't know if it was confirmed, so I'm going to call it rumors or what I read.
Seems like it's going to be the easy.
Yeah, right. I just listen. I can't have the SEC focused on me. I don't have enough money to fight them.
Same here, pal.
The rumors that are going on about Ethereum ETFs and everything else that's coming in. What are your thoughts on that, and what impacts do you feel is going to happen from that?
You're going to see. I would anticipate a similar move like you saw in Bitcoin. You also can look at the psychology of Ethereum price being what a 20th of a Bitcoin price.
Yeah.
So you can see a lot of people psychologically want to have more of something. So maybe you'll see it. You may see a bigger push into that, but I would assume you would see a very similar chart. Again, I don't play in that space or speculate in that space. What I do love about it is that you're seeing the powers that be get involved, and that'll allow companies like us and other companies that want to join this industry to be able to maneuver without feeling like they're going to be attacked or be targeted.
Yeah. And folks especially kind of have that mindset of, hey, if something is a smaller amount, it's easier to have it go 100%, which is one of the reasons that I prefer to invest in other cryptos and not just Bitcoin itself. Tell us about what's going on with the company outside of crypto, right? I know you guys have been up to a couple of things. I know we've had a couple of recordings, but I'll kind of leave it up to you to update us on what's happening in the world of Diamond League Minerals.
Thank you. Yeah, we've got some great momentum continued. I just finished trips across Europe educating on what we're doing, and the interest in our company and model, and I think the incredible 1927 Yankees Murderer Road team that we've created here is, we got a spotlight on us, which is great. And we've got seasoned executives across multiple different industries that allow us to have access into those industries and do some great business. We've announced through Benzinga the announcement of Boxable, for example, and what we plan on doing on creating Boxable Villages, what I believe is the solution for affordable homes and modular home building at scale. And being able to tokenize those villages, which gets pretty exciting about how do you finance these in the new model of the world of financial mechanisms through tokenization. So that was exciting for us to announce our stance in real estate, and that was a residential real estate play. We do anticipate the commercial real estate industry to be one of the biggest ones that's going to really need a solution to help offset $7+ trillion of paper that's maturing over the next few years.
Yeah,
so working very heavily on, can we provide an opportunity for liquidity into these buildings and these building owners or development owners, and to hopefully offset a correction that we had seen in 2007, 2008. So we're very focused on how do we play in that space? How do we do that in a legal and regulated framework? And how do we provide a turnkey solution for these, what we believe are great assets that are either undervalued, the tenancy's low in these assets or these buildings? And how can we come in and add these these properties to our balance sheet? How do we provide an opportunity for investors around the world to buy into those properties through security token or tokenization?
Yeah.
And how do we provide value for our DLMI shareholders?
Now, when it comes to, you're focused on a few different things, right? We've talked about the Boxable one that you mentioned as well. How do you make sure that the team is kind of laser focused on the projects that matter, right? Sometimes in my own personal life, there's so many things that we want to do here at Benzinga. We want to innovate. We want to do different cool things, but we've got to focus on what kind of, the juice has to be worth the squeeze, I guess. So how do you make sure that your company's focused and locked in on that?
That's
top to bottom.
Yeah, one hell of a question. So you got to look at, for any listeners that don't know my private career, my personal history, it's over 23 years of building and starting and acquiring companies. So I built what I think is a pretty sharp arsenal and ecosystem of over 110 plus companies. The fun thing about it is it creates value, right? So I'm basically replicating that in the public environment and what we're doing with DLMI. So to answer your question, one of the key pieces of the DLMI strategy and focus is not to just say, hey, here we're doing all this, and I just drop everything in, because to your point, investors or smart money is going to say there's no way that they know how to do all these things at once. Well, I've been doing it for 23 plus years, plus our team and our advisors have been doing it for decades. So there's a lot of expertise on how do you scale, how do you rinse and repeat a model correctly across multiple different companies and multiple different industries. So for us to really execute and scale and be able to provide real value and tangible value and returns, my biggest next exciting moment is to turn on a dividend structure for our shareholders and a security token dividend structure for our shareholders. So for us to do that, we need to go and we need to start bringing revenues into this great companies. And that's where we're at this moment of our roadmap. You know, the last 6 or 7 months has been, here we are, here's what we're doing, the new strategy of the company. You know, DLMI has been an amazing public vehicle that didn't have the right trajectory as to what is it going into the future. It's been around since 1954. It's been a Salt Lake City headquartered company, and we've got a lot of great support in Salt Lake City. One of our advisors is Brandon Fugel, who's the chairman of the Colliers International, based out of that region. So when you start to look at what we really want to be able to do in commercial real estate and have tremendous expertise such as him and great support from him to be a leader in that space and to provide a solution in that space, then we just want to say, hey, that's the model for commercial real estate. We've got it. We've got the team. Now let's go apply it to the music industry, for example, or the IP industry, or to the consumer products industry. So this, for us to do what I plan on doing, it's taking all of our expertise and access, creating the perfect program, and then copy and pasting across all the different companies that we want to be involved in.
Well, hey, like that dividend, you know, I know down the road, future, that sounds exciting. So I'm looking forward to kind of having those conversations whenever that does come to fruition. But thank you so much for your time, Brian. I appreciate it, man. It's always good to talk to you. And whenever you have other news coming out, let us know. We'd love to chop it up.
Thanks a lot, pal. Have a good day.
You too. And that is Brian, who is the CEO of Diamond Lake Minerals. Again, ticker on the OTC markets is DLMI. And of course, as always, thank you, the viewers at home, for watching All Access.